MAGA. So let's see how we can make this happen. If so, nevertheless, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Good evening and welcome to the program. Make sure I got everything on Wi-Fi and flipped over. We're gonna ask a simple question tonight, and that question being: is President Trump the right man for the job? Is President Trump the right man for the job? And I'm asking that because of what's going on. Right now, we have the Democrats and Republicans are not working together. I don't think that's a surprise. Everybody knows that right now, but the Democratic Party and the Republican Party in the House and Senate are not working, cooperating. They're not getting along. Whatever synonym you want to use, but fact is, the Democrats and Republicans are not working together. There's nothing bipartisan coming out at all. So I'm going to ask a simple question. During these times, is President Trump the right man for the job? Because that is part of his job. Make no mistake about it. Getting this country back on track, getting us, unifying the country. That's part of his job. That is part of his job. So, do we look like we may be headed down that path? Because you can't do much if the government is closed or shut down right as it is right now. You can't do much about that. So I'm asking, as you see on the monitor behind me, is he the best man for the job? Is he the right man for the job? We're going to be talking about it from that standpoint. Whether you like him, whether you dislike him, whether you have no opinion on it, we'll tackle it from all angles. Another black MAGA says, Devani, Devin Nooney or something. Another black MAGA, huh? Thank you, Mike. Melanie, I think this says you look nice. I appreciate that. No, he's a dangerous, sick child. Wow. Are you suggesting that President Trump is a dangerous, sick child? I got this tie is coming apart here. But he didn't unite the country last time, so why ask if he'll unite it this time? Because last time the government was shut down as well, but this time it's looking like it may be shut down even longer. I think we're only about 3 days from this particular government shutdown being the longest in history. And obviously he holds the record from last time being the longest in history. So right now, President Trump holds the first and second longest shutdown in U.S. history. Obama, I think he had the fourth or fifth longest. It was shut down for 16 days under Obama. President Trump's longest is 35, and I think today we're at day 30 or 31 or something like that. So both of Trump's shutdowns are not going to be twice as long as Obama. I believe Carter had a decent length shutdown. Bill Clinton is in there as well. But so it is President Trump in the number 1 and 2 slot, if I'm correct. I think Carter is in the number 3 slot. Bill Clinton is in the 4 slot, and I think Obama's in 5. So there you go. But we're talking about is President Trump the right man for the job under these conditions? I'm going to ask you folks on TikTok, help out your boy by tapping the screen. Help get the numbers. We're on the backup platform. Tap the screen, get the likes on up. So we always come with clips, receipts, whatever the hell you want to call them. But like I said, I want to present to you why I'm asking that. And today, President Trump made a couple statements. One of them is basically vintage Trump. This is kind of vintage Trump, but we'll go into these and tackle them as I play about here. But this is vintage Trump.
The shutdown proceeds because the Democrats just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's wrong with them. They've never done a thing like this. They've become crazed lunatics. All they have to do is say, let's go, let's open up our country, and everything snaps back into shape. So there's something wrong with them. I'm always going to meet. All they have to do is open up the country. Let them open up the country, and we'll meet. We'll meet very quickly, but they have to open up the country. It's their fault. Everything is their fault. It's so easily solved. The shutdown.
Everything is their fault. So wow, and you hear them say all they do is have to open up the country, and then we'll meet or whatever the case may be. Keep in mind what he is saying is basically if the Democrats open the country back up, he will meet with them and sit down to negotiate. There is absolutely no guarantee they'll get anything out of that either if he actually follows through on meeting with them. So he's not really offering a lot and demanding that they immediately first do what he wants before they even get the opportunity to sit down with him. And as I just stated, there's no guarantee anything will come out of the sit down if he actually even follows through on his sit down. So this is what he is offering them. But you hear him also concluding by saying everything is the Democrats' fault. That's why I'm asking you folks, is President Trump the right man for the job in regards to what's going on right now? Because you got to get both sides to work together. Does it happen by saying the Democrats are the reason, blaming the Democrats for everything? Is that the way to do this? I'm just going to say the Democrats are responsible for everything, and somehow, some way, everybody gets to work together. Well, here's something better yet, the left has been saying from day one. Here's something more newer President Trump is now suggesting.
This morning, President Trump is calling on Republicans to change the rules in the Senate to reopen the government. Trump posting overnight, it is now time for the Republicans to play their Trump card and go for what is called the nuclear option. Get rid of the filibuster and get rid of it now. The move would allow Republicans to pass a bill to fund the government with a simple majority instead of the 60 votes currently needed. But Senate Majority Leader John Thune has warned against this move, saying it could come back to bite Republicans whenever Democrats take power back. Meanwhile, millions of Americans fear their food.
I just want to say, in regards to what Senator Thune said, that the nuclear option ending the filibuster could come back to bite Republicans when the Democrats take power. Where has that energy been in the Republican Party? I'm just going to submit to you that there is a ton of things that the Republicans are doing under Trump that could come back to bite them when the Democrats take power. Are they just now realizing that with this Trump saying, let's do the nuclear option? Have they just now realized that all of the things, giving Trump immunity and what happened with January 6th, have they not realized this all along? That this guy is doing a whole lot of things that may come back to bite us when the Democrats take power. It's crazy that he would say that this late in the game, but I do agree with Senator Thune. He's right. If you get rid of the filibuster and bring in a nuclear option, it could come back to bite you. But my humble opinion is we're well past that threshold. Trump has done so many things. I mean, his level of redecorating the White House, taking, jets from Qatar or Qatar, whatever you want to call that nation. He's done a whole lot of things that come back to bite them once the Democrats take power. I don't know why Senator Thune is just seeming to recognize that. But anyhow, continuing on, this one here leaves me baffled. Now, I tried to find this from a different source because I don't really like to play clips from MSNBC. I know how some of my beloved MAGA feel about MSNBC, but this is where I found it. So I will play the clip. You don't generally hear clips from MSNBC on the program here, but I want to play this because regardless of the network it's coming from, the statement is actually factual.
Something very important that we've been waiting for, literally just handed to me, 15 pages. We've been waiting for this Massachusetts judge to let us know whether or not the federal government is essentially going to be forced to pay for SNAP benefits. We're just 10 hours and 10 minutes away from 42 million Americans losing this benefit. I want to bring in MSNBC senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin. Lisa, what did the judge say?
So the judge, Chris, is saying that the defendants are obligated to use the contingency funds that were identified by the state. But they also have another option available, that they can take money that comes off of funds. There are additional funds that also may be available that come from a different source. And so what she is saying is the plaintiffs have shown a likelihood of success on the merits, but they aren't necessarily at the stage that they have shown that they will be irreparably harmed.
Okay, and I don't want to go into the MSNBC opinion or commentary. And like I said, I don't normally play the clips for the people to offer their opinions. That's what you folks are watching for. I want to hear your opinions. But you do hear them state that a judge has now ruled that they have to take emergency funding to try to fund the SNAP program as far as it'll go. Now, I believe it's like $5 billion or something like that. That's not going to go very far, but it is emergency funding set aside. The question I want to ask, a simple question is, why the hell did a judge have to rule President Trump is, required to use emergency funding set aside? Why didn't he do this himself? If he is America first, and there are thousands of people, some estimate as many as millions of people. Thank you, Alter Ego. Appreciate that. If millions of people, women, children alike, disabled people are potentially about to go hungry, why does a judge have to tell Trump to use that funding? Why does a judge have to tell him something that he should know already? I'm asking folks, is President Trump, under the current circumstances, the current situation, is he the right man for the job? Is this the best man for the job? Because I'm trying to figure out why the hell, with so many millions of folks on the cusp of possibly going hungry, he would have to be ordered by a judge to use emergency funding. And in fact, I believe he was trying not to use the money, and the judge ruled that what he was doing was not legal. Why would he do that? Can somebody explain that? So that's what we're going to be talking about on this abbreviated program. Just, is he the right man for the job in the current situation? Why the hell would he have to be ordered to do something that you would assume the president of America would do for Americans? Somebody got to make that make sense. So looking in the comments right off the bat, SNAP max one-time use. I don't get what you mean there. Yes, Trump is the best man. Thank God, no Kamala. Word salad, always drunk president. Well, I got, Stephanie, I will tell you this. I don't know about Kamala Harris, how much she drinks or not. I don't know if she was ever drunk, but in regards to word salad, what do you think? You think Trump is always clear and legible? Huh? Okay. All right. The guy's been talking about sharks and all kinds of crazy shit too. So I just want to make sure you can hear bipartisan word salad. There is no money, any emergency money goes to the military first. Didn't the Trump administration, well, when you say any emergency money goes to the military first, did the Trump administration just put aside some money to give Kristi Noem, the director of Homeland Security, a new corporate jet or something like that? Where is that money coming from? Now, I know he is suggesting that the money for the renovation at the White House is coming from private donors, but I would have to ask, you got private donors that help you fix up the White House, but you don't have any of them that'll help you with your fellow countrymen? I mean, you can't see if you can get some paper, some cheese for that. It just seems like he's picking and choosing what he wants to do with money. The dude is illiterate, says Rich Matty. My hard-earned money, my time, my soul, says Triple G. All right. So looking in the comments, give the people what they want, says King Finn. I always like the statement. We'll go ahead and start that out. One of my subscribers indeed. King Finn, is he the right man for the job?
So I'm not even going to play my music today because I'm quite saddened by the amount of people that really actually still believe that this shit stain's doing the right thing. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to call him a shit stain. I'm going to say the fact that the American people are about to watch more than 40 million people lose literally their livelihood, insurance, and food tomorrow. You understand what that means? Is he the right person for the job? No, he's not doing his job. And people keep saying, oh, well, people ain't going to get their food stamps. And yeah, good. They don't need the food stamps anyway. They need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. But that's not what he's doing. While these 40 million people we're talking about are going to be hungry and not get their SNAP and not be able to buy food for their kids, do you know what Donald's going to be doing?
What?
He's going to be eating Big Macs and steaks. He's not worried about y'all.
But why do you think because you rightfully point out there are a lot of Americans that seem to be reveling in the fact that there are going to be a lot of Americans not receiving food stamps and benefits. And like you said, they're saying good and time to get a job. Why do you think there's so many people championing and celebrating that?
Because they don't understand how much that's going to hit them. like I told you last week, they don't realize that without those SNAP dollars, the food budget in those stores are going to skyrocket. It's not going to be funny anymore to them when they actually do start paying $10 for eggs, $17 for a pound of hamburger, because those SNAP dollars help fund our economy. That's what they're not seeing. And while they're saying, oh yeah, good, those people, those welfare queens are going to have to get up off of their ass and go get a job, what you're not realizing is there's no jobs there. They're firing people left and right. Amazon, 30,000. UPS, 14,000. Amazon did 30,000 out of the damn corporate offices.
I saw that.
And that's not counting the shit that Trump's done himself.
What about Jeremy Taylor in the comments says folks can go to church groups for food? I mean,
Right.
would that be enough? Would that be sufficient?
No, it's not. Up here in Minnesota, we have an $8 million surplus. That $8 million is going to be bust out to the food banks or cranked out to the food banks to try to help with that. We have strong local groups and communities across this nation right now. A lot of people that are on here have started funds to try to make sure we can try to cover people in the community, but it's still not going to be enough. And we shouldn't have to, because you understand the idea that this president is literally voting for cruelty. He's performing cruelty on his own people. It's kind of, I don't know, what's the word? Unconstitutional, against the law, unpresidential. So no, I'm not even going to play my music today in lieu of the fact that you sick pieces of shit are still okay with this. The more you look at it, the worse off it gets. The more he does shit, the more he looks like Shitler.
But what about Shitler? What about the because I got a guest that's giving me the theory behind the law of supply and demand, and he seems to disagree with you. He says Jessamine says more food, less people paying makes food prices go down, not up. So he's saying that all of a sudden, if there's less people with SNAP benefits or whatever to buy food, there will be less of a demand for it. And that way it'll actually bring down the price of the cost of food for the folks who can actually purchase it.
Nope, that's wrong. He has a Reaganomics theory, and we've seen what Reaganomics did we not? That's not the smartest theory.
You're talking trickle down.
Yeah, trickle down, because he's saying basically that the less amount of people buying food is going to make the food go down. But at the same time, does he not understand the fact that if we're not buying that food, it's just going to go bad? Just like that meat that Trump's talking about bringing from Argentina. Number one, they have cases of foot and mouth disease. Number two, it's going to sit on the ship. Who's going to buy that?
Yeah, but if you're suggesting that
you're really going to want to buy some beef from Argentina.
Yeah, but think about what you're saying. You're kind of validating his claim a little bit. You're saying that if there's not enough, if everybody does not have EBT cards or whatever, the food's going to sit there and it's going to go bad. Well, if it comes down to food potentially going bad, what does the grocery store do? They drop the price so somebody will come and buy it. So he's, at least on perishables, he might be right.
I don't think so, Tim. I think it's going to be a real bad problem. And then there's the other factor. People are not thinking about the fact that, unfortunately, these so-called illegals that you guys are naming out, and the Black community, we've always survived. We've done what little we've had and fed the multitude of them. Okay, what the problem is that y'all forgetting, most of the people who use SNAP, those benefits, a lot of those people are white people. So grandmama and papa and them ain't gonna have their stamps. And what you think for that?
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of communities, I would assume a higher percentage of the Black community probably are on SNAP than whites, though, right?
No, that's a wrong assumption.
You don't think so? Percentage-wise, I'm not talking sheer number. I'm saying percentage-wise. You don't think a higher percentage of Blacks are on SNAP than whites?
No, because we've had a boom of Black women themselves having an uprising. There are more Black women in the workforce. There are more Black women with degrees starting businesses and the whole nine. Black women can take care of their families, even when the Black man can't. But you know who can't take care of their families? Poor little white guys. Poor little white women who cry their white Republican tears. those
I have
people.
a hard time. Listen, I don't know for certain. I didn't research it before coming on air. I can't dispute you, but I would have absolutely thought percentage of the black community that receives SNAP benefits, I would have thought that was higher than the percentage of the white community that are receiving them. You're saying otherwise, though.
Definitely saying otherwise. Just like Miss Mobetta just said in the comments.
Yeah, I
You
see
remember
it.
what happened in COVID? During C-19,
Right.
plenty of black women had the time and the ease to start their own business. Creators had the time, the ease to focus on their product. White people wasn't doing that. I'm not saying all white people weren't doing that, but a good percentage of the black community came up during COVID. And I'm not just talking about from fucked up PPP loans. I'm talking about they came up because they had the time. They weren't in the workforce. They were at home dealing with things that they knew. And a lot of these designers and these new little gadgets that you got that came out during C-19 came from black people producing.
So let me ask it to you this way: if SNAP, EBT, I guess food stamps for us Gen Xers that grew up on this shit, if this stuff is temporarily suspended, let's say for a few months, which community do you think will be hit and hurt the hardest?
The white community. Again, I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. The black community has always survived. Whether you've given us scraps like you did when we was in damn slavery and we made the best barbecue out the shit, or just like when we had the Great Depression, y'all gave us cans of beef and cans of pork and that government cheese. We made the best grilled cheese.
Yeah, but King, I get that the black community learned to eat chitlins and hog maws and chicken feet and shit like that during slavery in the Jim Crow era. But do you believe that this current crop of African Americans can adhere and adapt to those same standards that their ancestors did?
Yeah, I do. Because we have something called the lineage of the black family. We have grandmas who sent on those recipes on down the line. We got grandpas who still remember them damn can openers. And to be 100% honest with you, I still have my grandfather's cheese slicer. They used to snatch that block of cheese and cut that cheese thin as hell and make the best damn grilled cheese.
I gotta be honest with you, because considering how I grew up, I'm asking you these questions. I want to just hear your answers. Then, but I would have answered my own question by saying, "Damn right we could," because I grew up in that same stuff. Me and some of the other viewers have been talking about growing up on food pantry items and powdered milk and all that shit. We lived through that as a kid, so I'm pretty sure I could go back to that. I wouldn't like it, but I'm pretty sure I could go back to that and adjust.
It's something that you can use to survive. Now, if we take a look into white America, what do you see? People entitled with their shrimp and they motherfucking seafood boils. The welfare queens that y'all been talking about is so black. These are the white people who've been eating steak and lobster for the longest.
But that's not all white people, Kingfin. Brian in the comments says the rural white community will be just fine. We feed ourselves with deer and wildlife. So he's suggesting that the rural white community, which traditionally is pretty damn poor itself, also could adapt.
That's great for them. So what's the problem? Why are y'all on here talking about that shit all the time?
Well, because they think the Democrats are ruining the country.
The Democrats ain't ruining the country. See, you about to make me get up because you fluffing. You know exactly what you're doing.
I'm telling you what the president said. The president stated the Democrats are responsible for every damn thing.
You better make me get up, Tim. You better stop that.
Sir, it's not me. It is your commander-in-chief.
Wait, hold on. That's not my commander-in-chief, because my motherfucking president's still Obama. I don't know who this piece of shit is that's sitting in there now, but my president would have never sent us in another war. We wouldn't be worried about Russia sitting on Venezuela's back door to get some oil that don't belong to us in the first place. We would never be worried about basically another Great Depression, because Obama didn't do none of that shit. So that ain't my motherfucking president.
Well, without due respect, Kingfin, that's not how it works. The nation, 77 million people elected Trump. If you are an American living on our soil, this is your president. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree. That is your president, sir.
No, that's not my president. Sorry to tell you. I don't give a damn what you saying. Ain't no traitor. No fucking traitorous coup leader. No traitorous cult member, I should say. That motherfucker should be in jail. He led a coup. He's a fucking traitor. And now, since you just amped me up to get the fuck up, let me go on ahead and stand on up in this shit like a motherfucker usually do. So you motherfuckers want to play games, right? Y'all want to play games talking about welfare queens ain't gonna get their check. How about you motherfuckers who ain't gonna be able to get your teeth? How about you motherfuckers who ain't gonna be able to go to the doctor? How about you motherfuckers whose premiums is about to go up by at least $500 to $1,000? You ain't worried about that shit? Okay, don't worry about it. When you get your next check and your motherfucking Medicaid and your Medicare and your private insurance is more than fucking $600, then come holler at me then. That's your president? Really it is? The same motherfucker over in Asia who can barely pronounce a motherfucking sentence? The same motherfucker that's got a naval carrier outside of Venezuela about to go to war with Russia? That's your motherfucking president? That ain't my fucking president.
Bro.
That's a motherfucker.
Well, to respond to part of your question, when you say that they're not, are they conservatives? I don't believe that a lot of folks, I think the liberals have suggested that things were going to go south under President Trump so many times and it did not happen, is that they're not going to believe any of the things that their left is saying until it actually is happening. They think that you guys are fear-mongering.
Are we? Okay, so we're not fear-mongering. We're not fear-mongering right now. We're looking at what happens. We're looking at what actually happens. If Kamala goes out right now and starts a campaign saying, I fucking told you so, she win the next election. Many of the motherfuckers didn't vote for her, and now you got Mango Mussolini starting wars, fucking up the economy, fucking not even bailing out farmers, not paying millions of people who work, and on top of that, he's about to fuck up insurance and take away SNAP, a program that ain't been touched in almost 70 fucking years. Are you kidding me? We're not fear-mongering. She told you the fucking truth. We told you the fucking truth. It's not our fault you motherfuckers is too stupid to understand.
Well, in regards to the farmers, though, he has gotten China to commit to purchasing soybean again. So that's going to rescue some of them, is it not?
Is it in writing?
No, not so much.
It's in a handshake deal, right?
Yes.
It's in a handshake deal. So is that a deal? No, it's not. I'm not giving them credit for something you fucked up. No. You don't get credit for something you fucked up. I don't get to rob a store, take the merchandise back and the money back and say, hey, I brought it back. I shouldn't go to jail, do I? No, I don't.
No, I don't think that would be advisable. No.
Well, fuck no. You don't get that fucking credit, and it's a handshake deal. That don't mean shit. Xi Jinping is looking at his ass like, yeah, you really think we finna go ahead and give you a deal back for what? When did he say the deal was going to start? Because from what I understand of that deal, he's talking about within the future. He's not talking about now. Those fucking farmers ain't going to be able to farm shit.
Well, yeah, but King, he also stated that he lowered the tariffs for China from 20 to 10%. So, I mean, if China doesn't do this, they're not going to get the reduction in tariffs. So there has to be a little meat on the bone, is it not?
Tell me. He's the person who started the tariffs. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right, but they are there, though.
On the island of penguins. He's tariffing medicine. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you serious?
I'm just saying the
What
guy.
are you talking about? And all of the shit he's doing, they basically admitted to. They basically had to admit. The administration basically had to admit to Congress that he has no proof that there was actually slugs coming off the coast of Venezuela. He has no fucking proof.
That's
he doesn't have
crazy.
anything to say that.
That is
at all.
Without any proof. How can you not call it murder?
Ding, ding, ding. Exactly. That's the whole fucking point. He's doing that. He's killed what, 40? Are we up to 46 and 14 boats now? How many is it again?
Last time I remember mentioning it at 14, so I don't know how many it is now, but it doesn't seem like he's going to stop.
14 boats and about what, 46 people, I think.
Yeah.
So is that a war crime? Let me ask you this. There was a treaty back in 1923. I think it was called what was the name of that treaty? I have to think about it. I'll type it in the chat when I get it back up. But there was a treaty in between the South American countries and America that America would not go into these countries and start shit or start war. That would probably be a international law, seeing for the fact that he's already broken that shit. Now, I'm not saying we didn't already do that in the 50s when we went in. But based on those things, you don't think any of this is international law? It's a breakage of
I mean,
international
listen, the
law.
United States is the United States. I mean, yeah, he's probably breaking some laws internationally, but it is the United States. We don't tend to, we'll throw some money around, give somebody some free weapons or some shit. They'll forgive it. I want you to hear this, though. Patricia says it is cool because there are people that are draining the SNAP program. Americans are way back in the 7th place. Now he says Iran's number 1, Iraq's the number 2, Somalia, Korea. I don't know what the other countries are, but what about the notion that there's a lot of people getting SNAP, getting food stamps, getting EBT cards? They shouldn't get them to begin with, and that's why some folks are saying, "Great, if they cancel this program, maybe they'll be able to, determine some of the waste, fraud, and abuse before starting it back up."
Okay. So based along that same line of thoughts, right? Where's the Doge check? Where's the money from the Doge checks? Because that's waste, fraud, and abuse too. That argument weighs no motherfucking weight with me. You know why? Because I somewhat agree. There is a lot of problems with the SNAP program. The biggest problem is that it depends on it's basically the catalyst to so many other things, like WIC, because that formula is not fucking cheap. Like kids getting food in schools, because kids do need to eat, right?
Yeah.
But y'all don't give a fuck about that. But y'all say y'all are free pro-life, right? Like people having food in their fucking household, because there are people who literally have to eat. It's a medical condition, not obesity. Have to eat, like diabetics, low hyper and hypo. Glycemic people,
human beings
right?
have to eat. Everybody got to eat.
But the point of it is simple. These programs have flaws. Yes, they do. But the idea that just getting rid of the program totally is just as dumb as that fucking healthcare concept that he got. There's no plan there. Where's the plan? You can say that, but where's the fucking plan? So until you come up with a plan, just throwing the baby out with the bathwater, probably not the best idea, Patricia. Think it over again, right?
All right.
Fuck out of here.
This is what the people want, apparently, on the right. I got to move it on, King Finn, but I'm with you. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. If the baby needs to eat, feed the baby first before you throw anything out. King, always a pleasure.
I'm going to say this again, man, because I started your program. Don't start that fucking fluffing in that suit tonight, man. Keep the suit black. Stay away from the Cheeto dust, you heard?
I'll see what I can do. Thank you for coming through. That is the one and only King Finn. By the way, folks, tap the screen, get your gallon up to 20,000. Heart issues have certain diets. You're right. He mentioned diabetics. There's a host of different medical ailments you can have that you have to have certain diets. Now, of course, the right is probably going to say your medical ailment should not have anything to do with my finances. Why do I have to use my tax money to deal with you and your obesity or whatever else the case may be? It's a cold world out there. I'm telling you, some people don't give a damn about other folks. I don't understand it, but I hear it all the time. Thank you for sharing the live, Jerry Gillespie. Feel free to share the live, folks. Tap the screen, get us on up to 20,000. We'll go to the next caller shortly. Make SNAP only work with healthy food. No free processed food. The problem, Christopher, is healthy food costs more. Healthy food actually costs more. You want to have fresh fruits and vegetables, which often are not even available in the hood. I'm telling you, as somebody who lived in the hood a large portion of my life on the south side of Chicago and the north side of Milwaukee, wasn't a lot of that stuff available. So I get it. You should want people to eat healthy food, but a lot of people should, like, let's say, for instance, you live in an area where you're shopping, grocery shopping at the dollar store, Dollar General. They don't have a lot of healthy food in there. And that might be the closest grocery type store to your area. You're not going to get a lot of healthy food out of Dollar General or Dollar Tree. And a lot of people do a significant amount of their grocery shopping out of there. So I don't know, but I do agree with you. You should eat healthy, but they're giving you enough money just to maintain. They're not trying to have you eat healthy, in my opinion. People who work do not make enough money and need assistance. They are taxpayers as well. Betty, you are correct, and a lot of them are on SNAP, which goes against the whole notion that people who are on welfare need to go out and get a job. A lot of them do have a job. Some of them have 2 jobs. As I pointed out on yesterday's program, and thank you folks that are tapping the screen. I'll take the next caller at 18. if you go to some jobs you go to when you know when you're there, the people working there are not getting paid much. I mentioned Dollar General. You go there and you see a grown person behind the counter bagging up what you're purchasing or ringing you up. That individual is not making a lot of money. And that's an adult. If that person has one or two children at home, even though you're watching them work right in front of you, and so you know they have a job, they also need SNAP. They also need SNAP. Anybody working at Dollar General, any of these dollar stores that people routinely go and shop in, they don't pay a lot of money to work there. So any adult working at a place like that that has children that's going to need some SNAP. Doesn't matter if they work there 60 hours a week. That place is not paying enough to feed a family. It's just not. And there's a ton of jobs you deal with that are like that. I mean, you take your kids to the corner to put them on a school bus in the morning. Thank you for the hat and mustache there, Den Cal. Appreciate that. Help your boy get the goal, y'all. Thank you very much. You drive your kids off at the corner to get on the school bus. That driver, if he has a couple kids, he or she has a couple kids, that school bus job ain't paying enough to feed them. That person is working and probably also on SNAP. I don't think folks realize. Yeah, I've seen that, Miss Mobetta. Trump put the hat on President Trump. So people, we do need to get out of the notion or the belief that if you're on SNAP, you're unemployed. That's not true whatsoever.
Because the Democrats just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's wrong with them. They've never done a thing like this. They've become crazed lunatics. All they have to do is say,
real quick, he says they've never done a thing like this. Yeah, they did. They did it during your first term. You hold a record for the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. This happened during your first term.
The Democrats just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's wrong with them. They've never done a thing like this. They've become crazed lunatics. All they have to do is say, let's go, let's open up our country.
The Democrats have become crazed lunatics. We're asking, is he the right man for the job? Because I'm asking, considering that the Democrats and Republicans are not working together, he's the leader of our nation, so he needs to get those sides. So do you think it's going to be helpful to call one side crazed lunatics? Do you think that is helpful in getting both parties to work together?
Become crazed lunatics. All they have to do is say, let's go, let's open up our country, and everything snaps back into shape. So there's something wrong with them.
Something wrong with
I'm
them.
always going to meet. All they have to do is open up the country. Let them open up the country, and we'll meet. We'll meet very quickly. But they have to open up the country. It's their fault. Everything is their fault. It's so easily solved. The shutdown proceeds because the Democrats just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's wrong with them.
So obviously he has no love for the Democratic Party. And listen, I understand that the Democratic Party has no love for him either, but these parties got to work together to get something accomplished. And I don't know if what he is doing is the path to getting both sides to work together, but I'll let you folks explain that. Mike, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Tim, what's happening?
Not much at all. And I see Lorenza Day says, don't fold Democrats. Do you think the Democrats, for the sake of feeding Americans, should actually just this once fold? We talked about this yesterday, but what say you?
Okay, this is a quote. It's now time for the Republicans to play their Trump card and go for what is called the nuclear option. Get rid of the filibuster and get rid of it now. Trump wrote in a pair of late-night social media posts Thursday. Well, now we are in power, and if we did what we should be doing, it would immediately end this ridiculous country-destroying shutdown. Those were Trump's words.
Yeah.
End quote.
Yeah, I actually played him. I actually played that at the beginning of the program. He is calling for the nuclear option, but his party is disagreeing. They're suggesting that, listen, if we actually get rid of the filibuster, it could come back to hurt us in the future when Democrats are in charge.
Right. So they're worried about the future instead of the now. But listen, these are the games they've been playing. These are games they will continue to play. This is just who they are. They're not really looking to fix the problem. Now they're going to be infighting because of this. And it's par for the course.
But when you say the Democrats are just playing games and all of this stuff, How do you respond to folks who suggest, or you said that Republicans are playing games or whatever? How do you respond to folks who say, listen, the Democrats did this last time, and now because Chuck Schumer don't want to risk his Senate seat to AOC, it is the Democrats that are playing games by choosing not to sign something that they totally signed last time?
Who has refused to meet with the Democrats, Tim?
Well, I get you saying Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and the Republicans, but what I'm saying is because the Democrats now do not want to do what they did last time when it was a clean bill.
Didn't Trump say that the president, the chief, the president is responsible? So listen, here's what I'm saying. They're not looking to negotiate. They want the Democrats to fold and fold only. That's not a negotiation. That's not a negotiation, Tim.
I get that, but the counter argument is you signed this last time. It hasn't changed this time. Why do we have to negotiate on something you already signed before? Nothing's changed. So why are you requiring negotiation now?
Because what's going to change is the expiration of the subsidies for these medical benefits, and we all know that. And they don't want to pay it because they need that money to pay for these tax breaks they gave the rich. That's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, but
it's not even.
But that's in the big beautiful bill. That's not in this.
But the money is the money, though, Tim. All the money come from the straight same place.
Okay.
The money's the money, and that's all this is about. And it's about money. That's and you know it, and I know. Like, this is about money, and what we're dealing with right now is an administration that has been playing games with the American people's money, and now Trump is saying that they should make this move and they don't want to do it. So listen, at the end of the day, they voted for this shit. They signed up for this shit. They bought into the big, beautiful bill. Yay! Which was shit from the beginning, and we said it.
I don't know if my beloved MAGA, I don't know if they view the big, beautiful bill as shit, because Jeremiah Brown says, I'm sick of the poor. We need to take care of our actual citizens. So I don't think he views the big, beautiful bill as, I think he likes it. I think a lot of folks on the right like it.
Wait a minute, read that bullshit.
Jeremiah Brown says, I'm sick of the poor. We need to take care of our actual citizens.
That's exactly, Jeremiah, you actually said the shit out loud. This country doesn't consider the poor citizens. They don't consider the poor people. He literally just said it. I'm tired of them taking care of the poor. The poor who? People. But they don't give a fuck about the people. It's exactly what I said. Listen, let me tell you something, Tim. The games that this country plays, what he said, he spoke the real out loud. They don't care about middle class.
But have we ever in this country? I mean, have we ever? I mean, listen, I get the harshness of his statement, but look, let's be honest. Has America really ever cared about its poor?
Not as much as they should. Listen, and if anybody says they have, they're being dishonest. But I will say, like, for example, SNAP benefits have helped lift a certain percentage of, the U.S. citizens out of poverty. Right? These subsidies have helped people move their lives forward. This administration saying we don't want that. We don't want that. What we want is what that guy just said. Stop worrying about these poor motherfuckers and everybody else that has something. Let's focus on them. They're willing to unalive those poor people. What he said was 100% true. He just doesn't know what the fuck he just said.
Well, he follows up. The same individual says, I am a socialist, by the way. They did put a LOL at the end of it because I don't know.
I know. But again, Tim, what he said is exactly how they feel, because they understand the ramifications of this big, beautiful bill. They always had. Economists have said what this bill is going to do to the American people when they first released that shit. Elon Musk even said, This is bad. I mean, so it's not, and they keep going, but then people like that gentleman literally are admitting they just want to just move on and let it fall where it falls, right? That's what they're saying. Yeah. That's what they're saying. But here's the thing, Tim. There's a bigger game at play right now, and they don't like to talk about it. The handsome conservative in the comments doesn't like to talk about it because I always tell you, if they admit to a small portion, it unravels the whole thing.
Wait. If they admit to a small portion, what was the rest of that?
It unravels their whole ideology. Because they've drawn the line in the sand from the haves and have-nots. This is what they constantly do, and they complain when people push back about it, right?
Well, I think the issue is they think a lot of this is the folks who are receiving SNAP and EBT. They think it's their fault. For instance, Siamese Stormtrooper says, if you don't want to be poor, stop being poor. He says, PSA poor people, it's your fault. So it's their fault. So they don't really have anything to complain about, according to the viewer there.
Listen, I'm going to say it this way, and you can probably write this down. I'm going to tell them this. You don't care about poor people. You only care about your people.
Ooh, you got to elaborate on that.
That's a bar. You like that one?
Yeah, that's right up there when you got money for war, but you can't feed the poor. You don't care about poor people. You only care about your people. Now, I need to know. You got to explain that for the layman and the people in the back.
What he just said is exactly what I just repeated. They only care about a subset of the American people. If you're black, if you're brown, if you're from the LGBTQ community, if you're poor, we don't give a fuck about none of y'all. We only care about a subset. Let me give you an example, Tim. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Can you big box me for a second?
Yeah, and I see in the comments, being poor is because you want to be poor because of their choices. So I'll bring you up, but apparently a lot of not. Are you suggesting that Charlie Kirk's wife is? I already know what it's about, though.
Well, how do you know that?
Because it's all over the fucking internet. You got it. What was Charlie Kirk's wife's name? The one that cries with no tears?
Erica.
Yeah, she's been using the hair stuff, the no more tears they used to have back in the 80s. Yeah, she's hugging JD Vance and she's putting her hands in his hair. You know, let me put my hands through your beautiful hair, and he's got his hands around her waist and shit. What's going on there?
I'm asking you, sir. I'm asking you. You can big box yourself again.
All
I
right.
can see your face in all its glory when you answer this shit.
Well, listen. You know, it can't. If for some of you folks, my African Americans that have seen movies like The Five Heartbeats, you know, maybe when Big Red comes along and says, you know, maybe I'm a better person for the band. You know, maybe Charlie Kirk's wife kind of fits the profile more than what you currently have. Maybe JD Vance's rather. Maybe they came and told JD Vance, you know, you're going to be leading the party. You're an aspiring Christian nationalist. I don't know if your wife fits the proper profile. We happen to have somebody that just became available for you that might be a much better backup singer. That's what I kind of think is going on. Is they
then listen. Then I didn't have to fucking say it. Then. You and I have not talked. We have not talked about this.
No, we haven't.
We have not. But again, why? Now we come to that conclusion for a reason.
Because we need a first lady that's properly representative of this damn country.
That's right. And his wife, Usha, does not represent that shit in their mind. Because listen, the Republican Party in politics, as it's always stood, needs a first lady that fits this quote unquote mold. Michelle Obama broke that mold. That's why Jeb Bush couldn't win, because his wife was Hispanic. Let's be honest.
Is that not what Ann Coulter told Vivek Ramaswamy why she wouldn't vote for him?
You goddamn right, Tim. These aren't my personal fucking feelings. I'm just taking the body of information and saying that is what the MAGA and listen, that's what they want to see. They want to see him look like Trump. They want to see him look like the all-American.
So do you think there's validity? I get all of that, and I'm not totally disagreeing with that, but do you believe he's gonna be messing with the old man's woman? Do you really think that Erica Kirk and JD Vance might end up riding off in the sunset together?
Here's what I'm gonna say. It's not out of the realm of possibility, and here's why I'm gonna say it for anybody thinking I'm full of shit or I'm crazy. Tell me why I should have faith that that's out of the realm of possibility when JD Vance himself has made a 180 on everything he's ever stood for in the last 10 years.
Even his wife.
That man called Trump a modern day Hitler. Smittler, not me. That man said everything that the left has said about Trump himself and took a 180. He changed his religion to get where he's willing to do whatever it takes to assail up that ladder. And for the National Christian Movement, the Heritage Foundation, him and Erica look more like the way they want America to look than him and Usha. Period. Full stop.
Wow.
And he's got time to do it.
Yeah.
And he's got time to do it.
Wow.
This man was referencing you. I don't know if you remember this. He was referencing his wife and his kids as them and the kid, her kids. You remember that shit when they was campaigning and he made JD Vance?
Okay, say what you said again.
You remember when he was talking about his wife in one interview when he was talking about her and the kids as if it was her kids? You remember that shit?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, look that shit up. And I was like, why the fuck would you reference your wife and your kids almost like a third party, like them motherfuckers, right? And you can look it up. He said it multiple times. I'm sure people that are in here have heard that. So my point is, that picture I showed you looks more what they want to say. Now, would your wife be okay with another woman hugging you and putting her hand on the back of your head?
It looks very intimate. I'm not going to deny the way.
I asked you a question.
I don't think. Listen, I don't think any woman I'm with would agree with that. No,
100% not. You're gonna have to answer some fucking questions.
I just answered it. I don't think anybody, because I wouldn't be in favor of it either.
You damn right. And so, did you hear what she said?
No. What do you mean?
You need to listen to the audio when she announced him to come out. She was very emotional.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. She said she compared him to Charlie Kirk.
Her very, very, very good friend.
Yeah.
That she sees similar. And then she said, and his wife. She didn't say her. She didn't call her by her name. If you guys are that close and your husband gets unalived, who would get closer? Her and JD or the two wives? Who would get closer by nature, Tim?
This is crazy, man.
It is crazy. This shit is crazy. But here's the thing, though. So I'm going to move on from that. Now we're about to go to war with Venezuela. Right?
Okay. Maybe. Not for certain. That ain't confirmed, but with so many assets in the region, it looks more likely than not.
I thought I heard earlier, and I'm gonna Google it while we're talking. I thought Trump had made an announcement that they were putting troops in place, all this other shit today.
I'll repeat what I said. With so many assets in the region and President Trump indicating that things could happen on land, it's more likely than not we're going to escalate what's going on down there beyond just taking out some boats. It's more likely than not. You don't send all that shit down there if you're not. That's like when Russia was amassing stuff on the border with the Ukraine, and we were telling Zelensky they about to attack your ass, and Zelensky didn't want to believe it. Because Russia was saying it was a training op, and America was telling them, the Biden administration was telling them, no, they're sending blood supplies and shit up. You don't send blood supplies up for a training op. You expect people to get shot. So finally, boom, it happened. Yeah, I actually believe it's something similar.
Oh, listen, you're damn right. First of all, they came out. They came out and said, yeah, they don't have any IDs of anybody that was on any of those boats. So they've admitted they know fucking nothing.
That's crazy that they would come out and admit some shit like that.
So what does that say to you, Tim?
Well, first of all, it says they're murdering people. I mean, that's the biggest issue. You're murdering people.
So MAGA, handsome conservative, all you mother, put that shit to bed. They've come out and said they don't know who the fuck they are boom booming. So put that in your pipe and smoke that. Now Venezuela's asking Russia for help. You think Russia's going to help Venezuela?
Right now Russia kind of has their hands tied behind their back. They're dealing with what's going on their own region, but just to play spoil sport, maybe, in terms of maybe a few weapons here and there. I mean, at the end of the day, Trump is already threatening huge sanctions. we're already somewhat helping the Ukrainians. Russia don't have a lot to lose. America's not going to attack Russia. So it might be in their best interest to help the Ukrainians out to get leverage over the Americans. If all of a sudden you start making their war harder for them, talking about the United States, maybe it'll make the United States think twice about making the war harder for us if you're Russia.
So, and you're right. Now, so I'm reading this from the Miami Herald. The Trump administration has made the decision to attack military installations inside Venezuela, and the strikes could come at any moment.
So that's a
Sources
war.
have knowledge of this.
That's basically an act of
what is
war.
that? Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, I want to stop the narrative that every time someone that's an independent or from the left or just opposes Trump, right? Just opposes this administration. Because I oppose the administration more than I adopt all the left policy. Let's be clear. I oppose the Trump administration more than I adopt any other policy because of what they're doing to people. There's no humanity, and it shows every day. So let's stop obfuscating all of the realities, all the facts that are happening right now. And by the way, this is costing the U.S. consumers and the U.S. citizens millions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, but if he ends up bringing oil from Venezuela, he could make, I mean, imagine if gas all of a sudden drops down to $1 a gallon or some crazy shit.
Tim, that ain't happening.
I'm just saying.
Listen, Tim, I don't care if they recover $5 million from the fucking sun, $5 gazillion. That shit's not coming back to the American people. That's the problem. That's the problem that everybody needs to understand about what's happening. They can tell you they're saving money, but you'll never fucking see it. You'll never see it.
Well, they did indicate they did joke about possibly giving us a stimulus check. So who knows? Who knows? You gotta. He's only been in there. He's only been in there 9 months. I want to read something to you before you continue, though. Yep. Cody Locke says, I mean, he's saying he's basically talking about the carriers and things like that being a deterrent. Some of the wording here is off, but he says if you want a nation to cut out the bullshit that they're doing, you put a carrier off their coast. He said, I'd like to see proof they said that about the boats. I haven't seen it. I was trying to look at it while you said that. You said that they told the judge, and you're not the only one. I think my last caller said that. They told the judge that they do not have any knowledge of who they were blowing up off the coast of Venezuela. I can't find that.
Hold on.
And I make it quick because I'm going to have to move it on. But that is important information.
So listen, you know what the funny part is? And I'm going to pull this up right now. I'm going to read this. Is whoever asked that question, is PBS a good enough source?
Read what you got out. It is for me for now because I want to know that as well. The minute you said that, I started looking it up before Cody even said anything about it. I have not heard that, but go give me what you got.
Let me scroll down here. Let me see. Gotta find the quote. The headline on this article. Hold on, let me back up. I want to make sure I'm clear.
I mean, this should be
article.
This should be on this actually should be on many news outfits. So
you can go to the Intercept and read it. Officials acknowledge they don't know the identities of people they're killing and can't meet the evidentiary burden to prosecute survivors.
When is that article? When is that article dated?
October 31st, 2025, 4:30 p.m.
So it's new. That's why. Okay. Because I want to hear some. I'm looking forward to hearing some news media outlets report that. That's huge news because it's admitting that we're murdering people potentially. I haven't heard it yet, though.
Yep.
All right.
So again, so here's what I'm saying because I know you got to move on. Here's what I'm going to land this. Instead of people asking questions about this party that you support, if you're so adamant about supporting him, do more research. Because for somebody that doesn't support him, we seem to find information that you guys can't fucking find. How was that possible? If you care so much about what he's doing and we're so wrong about what we're saying and what we're seeing, go do your research and find it and quit telling us
Yeah.
Do some research and quit telling us You know, and Tim, this is what I was telling you when you bang on the left for messaging. I've been telling you, all the right does is say and you have to go do the work that they're unwilling to do to prove you wrong. The easiest way to shut somebody up is provide them with the information.
I don't
Yes or no,
disagree with that. I get some folks that do not favor my methods of pushback or say I'm pushing back only on the liberal side or whatever. I get it. And we'll continue to strive to make that somewhat unbiased on both sides. But I gotta move it on. And I do agree with you. Real quick.
Have you seen the U.S. overlords army?
Yes.
Have you watched the whole thing?
We talked about it. Yeah. Somebody come pick up your racist ass aunt. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday as well.
Yeah, but did you watch the whole thing? Did you watch when the police got
Yeah,
there?
they watched the video and everything. And they arrested the lady.
Did you notice that the lady and the three quote unquote, I got air quotes up, witnesses immediately went into their white supremacy, white privilege lie? She said he tried to rob her.
Yeah, took her purse.
Right. Immediately went into this Karen mode, and the three witnesses were willing to lie and said he did something he didn't do. And these white people want to tell us that shit don't exist? No fucking more?
Thank God he had all those cameras on, because he would have, that would have been three witnesses against him. He'd have been fucked.
And they were all lying. And they were all fucking lying, Tim. And why is their default to lie and demonize us? They all went right.
Well, he has he's on an intersection with a fuck Trump sign up. You're going to get plenty. You're not going to find any shortage of Trump supporters willing to lie against a black guy that's walking out in public with a sign that says fuck Trump. I gotta go. But I watched that live while it was happening. I knew it was not going to have a good outcome. Fortunately, he had enough cameras to make it where it wasn't as bad. Because people were going by honking and saying all kinds of awful shit to him. I knew it wasn't going to turn out well. Mike, appreciate you coming on. But what he is talking about, for some of you folks that have not seen it, and it's been replayed on many other platforms as well, because I've seen it replayed on Facebook and everywhere now. A lot of people have picked it up. But this guy named Army Overlord, who is a real anti-Trump guy, he's an African-American veteran. He walks around with a military outfit on, full medals and everything, and he's in Virginia on what he calls the busiest intersection in Virginia. And he's waving around this huge flag that's black, white letters that says fuck Trump and fuck you for voting for him. And people are going by honking and yelling shit out the window at him and everything. Now, Virginia is, what is it, a former slave state? There's plenty of Republicans in Virginia. Let's just put it that way. There's, the states, I think it's a purple state right now. It's potentially about to go back blue. But there's plenty of folks on the right in Virginia. Plenty of Trump supporters in Virginia. I think he won Virginia as well. So he's out there doing that in public by himself. This is not a No Kings protest. He is alone doing that. I'm looking like this brother really. Look, you got free speech right to do it. I get it. There were plenty of let's go branded flags all over people's houses and shit. Fuck Joe Biden was also being sold at Trump rallies. So he has a right to say fuck Trump. But I just really was like, man, I'm watching this live. 700-800 viewers in there watching it while he's walking down the street. You can hear people honking and yelling shit out the cars. Anyway, as my last viewer pointed out, this older white woman walked up to him and she didn't like the flag, claiming that she didn't like the profanity on the flag, as if she probably did not see fuck Joe Biden. Come on now. But anyway, they got into a spat back and forth. He's calling her racist constantly. And she decides to swipe his phone out of his hand. Now, he's a, big guy, probably similar to me. I'm 6'6", 300. He's a big dude as well. And she's a little older, elderly, white-looking lady. And she knocked his phone out of his hand, and he knocked her on her ass. He said something like, you fuck around and find out, or something like that. He was like, he didn't give a shit about it. Like, look, you fuck with me, I fuck with you back. Knocked her on her ass right in front of traffic and everything. So other cars coming by. You know how it is. Anybody that gets in a fight with a woman, people are going to defend the woman even if she started the fight. And that was exactly what happened here. But you heard my last caller state that the woman did not tell the police when they were called that she took the first hit. She chose to lie and say the guy was trying to rob her. This guy got a body cam on. He's holding his phone up feminine. He was able to show the police what happened. They ended up charging her with assault and battery. But as he rightfully pointed out, my last caller did, other folks showed up and instantly sided with the woman to the point where they were actually willing to lie and say this dude was actually trying to rob her. He's black, everybody else is white. Go figure. Anyway, looking in the comments, Mike says, MAGA, please explain this. I don't think that needs no explanation. That stuff predates MAGA for certain. She was a Christian, says Mike. Yeah, no shit. I could have guessed that one. Let me go back to the box, but it's all on video. If you put in Army Overlord, probably on TikTok or Facebook, it'll take you right to the video. I mean, it's got, I mean, it's went somewhat viral at this point. Cody says attack against anti-Trumpers are far less than those that attacks and vandalize Trump supporters. It's not good no matter who does it, but it's clear what side does it more. So you're saying that anti-Trumpers attack the Trump side and vandalize the Trump stuff more than the adverse? That could be true. I mean, I do believe that right-wing violence, I don't believe the Trump administration may say left-wing violence is greater than right-wing violence. I think that's wrong. But yeah, I mean, the Democrats are not in power. So who would the Trump supporters go around? Would they go after Schumer or Pelosi or somebody? I mean, Trump is like a shining beacon. Plus, here's the difference. And I'm not defending people attacking Trump or folks who have Trump signs. I'm not defending it whatsoever. But I say this all the time on the program. Taunting and trolling has its consequences. If a liberal continues doing that, let's say Jasmine Crockett became president, I guarantee you what you're saying now, you would know is not true. You don't have anybody on the left that is at that level like Trump that taunts and trolls all the time. That comes with consequences. I'm not defending anybody attacking somebody else for their words, but when you do that, you're going to piss off a few people. And I believe many on the right will readily say that that's Trump's goals. He wants liberal tears. He wants to piss them off. Well, okay, if you want to create tears and piss people off, quit acting surprised when they get pissed off. That's what you were trying to do, right? Anyway, getting back to the program, words are not violence. No, they're not, Diane. But getting your ass kicked because of words goes back as long as the history of mankind. It is what it is. Damn, dude, you're still talking crap. Well, it's okay. Enjoy it while you can, says Sergio. Let me know what crap I'm talking. President Trump is showing us he is the right man for the job, exactly what we voted for. And that's what we're talking about. Is President Trump the right man for the job? Dencal, good evening. Welcome to the program. Before we get into it, Dencal, hang on. They don't report the 2020 riots as left-wing. They don't even report the Kirk assassination as left-wing. The stats are skewed. I'll tell you why, Cody Lux. When you talk about the 2020 riots was a protest against police brutality and what happened to George Floyd. Why do people automatically assume if you protest against police brutality, you lean left? Are we suggesting that the right don't care about that? I mean, do you have to be left to be concerned with what happened to George Floyd? If you watch that and you are concerned or you don't like what you're seeing, does that make you a liberal? Because let me know how the 2020 protests, most of the people protesting Black Lives Matter, a lot of them folks never voted in their damn lives. Some of them are juvenile. So I don't get that. Dencal, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey. So
yeah, that's the kind of the mentality. That's the kind of the mentality that a lot of them have. Like when you say to people are going to lose their food stamps, a bunch of people automatically think that it's just Black people losing their food stamps.
Wow. Really? You think so? You think they're
when you say somebody was BLM or Antifa, they automatically go to Black people. It's the craziest mentality, but it's been built over such a long period of time. Going back to Ronald Reagan and calling them welfare queens, and I just seen it on the news the other day. I think it might have been Newsmax, but the guy was saying, "Oh yeah, all of these people are on food stamps getting using their food stamps to buy hair, weave, and buy, you know, just stuff that's obviously race-centered, saying that people, when the facts say there's more white people on public assistance than black people, but that's the mentality that's been built up around this country, is that when you say poor people, they automatically think black.
But that there is, and you should not do that. But I understand where it's coming from. I mean, let's be clear: the way this country was designed, it was designed so that black people stayed impoverished, probably right on up to at least almost damn near 1980, from the time it was created to about the mid to late 1900s. The country was designed to keep people that are of color poor. So it's pretty, I can understand, even though I don't agree with it, I can understand why people have, poverty and African Americans as a synonym, because they were designed to be poor.
Right. Yeah.
What I'm saying, I don't mean by God, I mean by the country. Obviously, whoever created mankind did not design one group of people to be poor, but the way this country was ran, it was designed to cut off most opportunities to black people and keep them in poverty.
Yeah, well, there are parts of the Bible that say it's chosen people where have been people who have been abused for long periods of time, but I'm not going to get into that.
That's why I don't follow it no more. I had a MAGA Christian nationalist old guy about almost 70 tell me that about 3 or 4 weeks ago to my face. Somebody I work with and told me that. He's like, some people, if you read the Bible, were designed to be on top, and some people were designed to be, and he was talking about us. You're not designed to be equal. He meant that.
Right. And believe it to the bottom of his heart, bless his heart.
Yeah, he meant that. And Cody Luck says BLM and Antifa are left-wing organizations, and that whole case is suspect as fuck. He's talking about the whole George Floyd case. I'm not going to relitigate the George Floyd case, but look, if you go to court and the courts rule against you, it is what it is. You know how many people are in jail for cases that were suspect as fuck? He lost. Period. He lost. So shout out to Derek Chauvin. He's in prison for the next 20 years.
He's not even taking into consideration what were the rallies and protests about, and what was the final outcome. He's not even admitting that those protests led to actual structural changes in our society.
But I do see where he's coming from, even though I disagree with it 100%. The right does see anybody protesting on behalf of against police brutality, systemic racism, protesting for equality, women's rights. They see all of that as a left-wing organization, which is revealing for what they think about the right. They just don't want to admit it. But by claiming that all these organizations that are fighting for equality are left, you're kind of admitting that the right is against equality. But they don't want to come out and confirm that.
Right. And they don't want, and then they use the excuse that it was violent to not even listen to what people are trying to explain to them. Show them proof. Show them that, up until that point, you can look at the history of, I think, what was that, in Minnesota?
Well, George Floyd, yeah. Minneapolis.
Yeah. If you would have looked at the past in Minnesota, you would have found out that, like, throughout their history, no cop had ever been prosecuted for, for doing anything, illegal against, a person of color. Like, never, ever. So when we're protesting, we're saying that's a problem, that we know that there's been these issues in our society forever. But you saying nobody did nothing because they was racist? No cops did anything wrong to people of color that needed to be prosecuted. Now when we see things prosecuted, that's why we can say, okay, I'm not going to say we achieved our ultimate goal, but we move closer to our goal, obviously, until the next thing that comes up.
Yeah, but we
can show.
When you start complaining about police brutality and misconduct, the right views that as being anti-police. That's why they say the liberals hate cops, to defund the police and things like that. Just like when the liberals complain about things about this country, well, the response is that means you hate America. I mean, they don't really tolerate a lot of complaining from the left. If the left complains about something, that means you hate them. I mean, so that does make it hard to have any inroads.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I just hope, through our dialogue and conversation, there's some people on the other side kind of hear what we're saying and actually internalize it and understand this ain't about hating nobody. We explaining how our existence has been for so long, and they just deny it and just tell us it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And we have to wait until we get body cams to show, and they're like, "Oh shit, there's been some fucked up shit."
I think the era of believing body cams may be coming to an end. They're gonna start saying that shit is AI. That cop didn't beat your ass. That's AI. You created that. You're trying to frame an innocent cop.
Right. But at the same time, the government that's in charge of AI, crypto, and all of this stuff ain't doing a damn thing about it. It's like the Wild Wild West with AI, and the same people they gonna complain and be saying, "Well, that's AI." Well, hell, your guy is the one who allowed it to run rampant.
Yeah.
Now, one AI company right now is being regulated, is being talked to about what the different things that can happen when you let a layman like me have the ability to just go online and create anybody I want, create anything, and make them say exactly what I want. Like that's probably gonna be the worst thing. Is to basically when they gave us the cell phone.
You need that right now because if you
cell phone.
Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody don't need their own movie studio in their pocket. Everybody don't need that ability.
I'm talking about from a Trump administration standpoint. If you want to, let's say for instance, you wanted to fabricate that some BLM folks got out of line. I mean, now that you can use AI, you can show here they are setting fire to a police station. I mean, there's going to be you already know MAGA's not going to ask it. If Trump say here's a video of some Black Lives Matter protesters getting out of hand, that's all, MAGA's going to believe it, even if they don't see the video. But if you can show them AI video, that shit's going to be worth gold. So now you can actually, if there's cheating in the midterms that is against the Republican Party, the Democrats cheat in the midterms, you can use AI now to show it happening. I mean, there's a lot of value for not putting those restrictions on right now.
They don't give a damn about that. They already, it's obviously only the Democrats who are trying to open an inquiry into why the Department of the Homeland Security, what's her name?
Kristi Noem.
Kristi Noem has been putting out these deep fakes. Remember the black guy in the mask? He said some stuff about, if ICE comes here or whatever.
Yeah.
He never said that. That's a deep fake.
Wow. I heard about the story. I didn't know it had got disproven. Wow.
Yeah, I seen the guy himself made a video. He was like, he getting death threats and everything. He was like, I never said that.
Jesus.
And so the Democrats are trying to bring this up for an investigation because they've been using a lot of fake videos, and her,
here's the problem though. How do you disprove this shit? Some of these videos talking about in Portland where there's riots and people burning, like those were actually videos from years ago. That we know. Yeah. But the problem is with the deep fakes, and I see in the comments, Lorenzo Day says if it ain't right, it ain't right. Literally true. But how do you disprove this stuff? I mean, if somebody has you, let's say for instance, you get a knock on your door in the middle of the night, and the cops want to arrest you for bank robbery, and they're like, "We got you on video," and it is one of those deep fakes. How do you disprove it? Is there any technology available that allows you to prove that something is not real that's on video of you doing it?
Yeah, I mean, the people that understand AI, they can tell the difference. I don't know how because I'm not in that world.
I don't either.
But they can tell the difference. In most of the videos, you have to go through like a app to be able to do it. So the people from the app, obviously, they know it belongs to them. and the people who would be investigating this stuff. Now you still going to jail until they figure out.
That could be for a few weeks.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it takes that long. I mean, they got one out now with what's the name? Michael Eric Dyson, you know, the scientist.
Yeah.
No. What's the scientist?
You talking about I like that guy. I like that guy a lot too. What is his name?
Was it DeGrasse?
No, yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse.
Is there something DeGrasse?
Yeah. I think it's
Michael
Neil
Tyson,
deGrasse Tyson or something.
Right, yeah. Him. They got one out now of him. He found out immediately. There's a deep fake of him out there talking about after he's did a lot of studying and everything, he's determined that the earth is flat. And they put that out, and he had to come out today or yesterday and say, look, this is not me, but he's trying to make it show people like how this stuff is about to be a problem. We got deep fakes of Trump and everything, and he's not doing, because you know Republicans believe about deregulation. They are not saying a word about none of this stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I saw that Neil, because I watch a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson's videos on his Start Talk channel, and I saw that when I got home from work today. I'm like, should I click on this? Like, does this sound like something he would say? I was going to watch it later on because I'm like, how is he going to explain this? We don't send motherfuckers to the moon. They don't see the earth from a distance. They know it's round. So I was wondering what he was going to say in there.
Right, because they played it before he actually explained it. So I watched it. I was like, what the fuck? What the hell? He done discovered some real shit. I'm really like into it now. I'm thinking like maybe he done discovered some shit that we didn't know. And then right after that, it goes off and he was like, this is not me. I never said any of this.
That's really scary though, because you know, they already got this shit that they call an elderly person and tell them your son or your daughter or your niece or whatever is in Mexico and this person needs surgery, and could you wire $50,000 to pay for the surgery that they desperately need, or they're locked up or whatever. And a lot of elderly people fall for it, and they falling for it just from a phone call. Imagine being able to show them video. I mean, you imagine the scams you could pull off.
So we already have established that we have the Homeland Security using deep fakes, whether they know it or not. I believe they know it, but they're using them to press an agenda. What happens when some government source puts out a video of Trump saying, hey, we need to actually, pew all the Democrats or whatever, something crazy. And there's a small portion of America that will be like, okay, we've been waiting for his word. And now we gonna be on go. Like, you can't control that stuff. And they just letting it.
You know something, because Americans have access to enough technology, you may have some skepticals, but I can see where that could be used with a lot more success. Let's say, for instance, you want to, get rid of the CIA wants to get rid of an African warlord or something like that. They could easily go over there and show the opposition videos of that warlord doing something that make people want to go, because they don't have as much access to that technology. They would really believe that. Just like down in Venezuela, you may be able to show some of the citizens AI videos and get a lot less skepticism from them out of it. This could really go south. Real quick before we continue, though, in regards to, we were talking about which group of people are on SNAP and welfare and things like that. Cody says with 44 million on food stamps, it's more than Black people. The issue is there's too much of a complex fraud with them. So he's saying that most of the fraud from the EBT or food stamp recipients is coming from Black people. What do you think of that? Do you think that's true?
Coming from
most of the people committing.
If I'm understanding that, he's saying the Black people are scamming, but the white people ain't.
In most cases, that's what he's saying. Yes.
So they deserve it. They deserve it. The Black people don't.
I'm just here to read the comments. I'm just here to read the comments.
I'm not gonna go into that with them, because like it gets down to a mindset. How you could come to that conclusion And it's probably a halfway intelligent person. I mean, they probably, have a job. They're probably halfway educated, but they really believe that shit. And that's what we was talking about earlier. It's like the mindset, like people have been, I hate to say the word brainwashed because people automatically get turned off when somebody calls you brainwashed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to listen to what they say. But I'm not sure of any other word that could categorize people who automatically go to the worst about black people. No matter what it is, they automatically go to the worst.
I know what you could call him. You could call him Charlie Kirk's, because that's the only thing Charlie Kirk said about black people was bad shit. So you can call him. I never heard out of all of the clips I heard from Charlie Kirk in regards to black people, they are like all negative. I haven't heard him say anything positive.
Right. If you would have just boiled this shit down, it's like, look, black people should have never been let free, and they shouldn't have been listening to damn.
Well, he did say
the women ain't that smart either.
He did say that the country and black people were better off with during the Jim Crow era and slavery and shit like that. I mean, he did say something to that. I got a whole couple pages sitting next to me of notes I took from the time when he had passed and we were holding shows and things like that. I guess said a lot of negative shit about black people. What do you think? Did you hear what Mike said though, where we were discussing about his wife, his widow now potentially looking towards to becoming a Vance?
Yeah, I'm not there with him on that, but I am of the mindset that ever since he passed away, nobody in his whole group is addressing all of the stuff that's out about how he felt before he passed away. All the stuff about Israel, all the stuff about losing donors, all the stuff about not going to Israel to get basically chastised by Netanyahu. Like nobody, not his wife or nobody.
You know who's been running away with that? Candace Owens. She's indicating that maybe he was murdered by some factions a lot larger than Tyler Robinson, the guy who assassinated him. She believes that there was something to that.
Yes, and Tucker Carlson he's tap dancing around it, and he keeps having her on his show promoting it, but he won't quite go there. But you watch him; he'll be shaking his head when she be talking, and
wow,
you can see that he knows. And look, I hate to say it, but even listening to Nick Fuentes, I ain't got no dog in that fight between him, and Israel. But he's doing the same thing as her. Like they're saying what kind of everybody knows to be true. None of the stuff is making sense. Our government is telling us we got the guy. Don't look at nothing else. All of this stuff we see him jump off the roof. No weapon. We see him do this. We see him do that.
Well, they are saying that he left behind text messages. He told his transgender roommate or what. I mean, there is a lot of evidence on this guy, though.
Yeah, but they question those text messages. Like this generation and his age limit, there's no way he was writing out an email or a text message to his gay lover, just laying out the whole crime and everything that happened right after it. Like, it's just not,
It doesn't, it looks suspect, as Cody said about the George Floyd thing. It looks suspect. All right, look, we'll see. I mean, because the guy is entitled to his day in court. He can step up and say, look, I didn't do this shit. We'll see what comes out of it. But then, Cal, I do got to move it on. But
hey, let me get one more quick thing.
Sure.
When the question was asked, have we ever cared about poor people? And I can say genuinely in this country, yes, there was a time. That time was after the Great Depression when a lot of whites were very poor, and they figured out that the system we had would not support them in their old age. People who were not rich or who did not have resources, when they couldn't work anymore, they just had to be poor.
Yeah.
They developed systems and programs to support them with Social Security and Medicare. Yes, there was a time.
So there was a time.
It wasn't for us. It wasn't for me and you.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me and you, but there was a time when they gave a damn. And also at a time before that when they gave out all of the land to the peasants out west to create a stronger America. They said, go out there, you find you 1,000 acres, you claim it, you can farm it, we subsidize no interest loans, all of that stuff.
That had to be a nice time. I mean, you talk about that's better than reparations. We're going to give you, you know, 1/10 of California. Do whatever you want with it. Jesus Christ. All right, didn't count.
We're going to buy you, we're going to help you. We're going to help you buy the equipment and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, and hey, one quick thing. The military, Russia does have two military transports he sent over there. And also they just sent 2 strategic bombers over there to Venezuela. So
it's already happening. We'll talk about that on the next program for certain. Thank you, Denkel. Appreciate it. Wow. So he's saying that Russia is already assisting the Venezuelans. Listen, it makes sense to me, as I stated, if America is going to interfere in the war that Russia is involved in with the Ukrainians, then why not pay back the favor? If you're gonna fuck with us, we're gonna fuck with you. So it makes sense.
I too am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
Now, she went down the line and started talking about he doesn't fit the narrative of being a Christian. I mean, she gave reasons, but I mean, you know, the religion he believes in, what was it, an Anglo-Saxon male? I forget how she termed it, but that may apply. And the only reason why I played that older clip, because that's about a little bit over a year old, I played that because that applies, many believe, to J.D. Vance's wife. You don't see J.D. Vance's wife at all. They don't really put her out in public much at all. And it's because, well, it's believed to be because many on the right do not favor having an Indian in that position or Indian women in that position. If J.D. Vance takes the reins from President Trump in 3 years, that means she will be the first lady. Many believe that that's not acceptable from the right. I'll leave it up to you what you think about that. In regards to Cody, like you says, YouTube won't let me say why the case, you're talking about the George Floyd case. YouTube won't let me say why the case is suspect, but I never said the cops have never been racist, just saying that case has open holes and not every court ruling is right. I mean, could be, but that's the way our country is ran. You get your day in court, you win, you lose, you lose. That's kind of how it goes. He had his day in court and he lost. I mean, is it suspect? Look, I don't, you know, we've seen George Floyd resisting police, not wanting to get in the back of the police car. We've seen him a able-bodied man. At the beginning of the video, we've seen him an unconscious and later deceased man at the end of the video. And the only thing that happened in between that is Derek Chauvin sitting on the guy whose last words were something to the notion of I can't breathe and calling out for his mom, I believe. I don't know about the case, but I know about the video. The video looks like he killed the guy. I don't know what else comes out. You know, if the guy had ingested 2 pounds of fentanyl or his heart was 10 times the size it should have been, or he was on his last legs with COVID or any of this other crazy stuff. But the video footage looks like Derek Chauvin took a man that was indeed alive and well and rendered him deceased. And I'll leave it at that. That's not what I said. I said there's too much fraud, not that it only comes from black people. Don't put words in my mouth. Well, some grammar issues in there, Cody, you know, the word rap or whatever. So I tried to interpret it. So my apologies if you didn't say that, and thank goodness you did. Forever C10, Tim, the original video had a particular guy in certain colors. The video didn't show that guy. The background was a little different. You're talking about how AI works. I hope they come up with some kind of foolproof method in being able to determine what AI is. Because keep in mind, folks, right now, AI is in its infancy. This shit will get better. It will get significantly better. I mean, it's like playing the old Atari game and realizing that one day you're going to have, PlayStation 5. It will get better. This Atari you're playing, the graphics will get better. The capabilities of video games the capabilities of AI will get better. You may be able to replace your wife with that shit someday. So it will get better. So I'm just simply saying that they're going to have to come up with some kind of technology that allows the courts in particular to determine when something is real or something is fake. People can get killed over that shit. When you show people videos, you can show somebody videos of another dude sleeping with his wife. I mean, you can literally show somebody a video. You can't trust this bitch. There's a video of her with my boy last night. And all of a sudden, went over somebody's house and, did something violent to this individual based off a fake video. You can get people killed over that stuff. Get people fired over that stuff. Get people, get folks angry with each other over fake videos. People believe videos. Anyway, looking in the comments before we move it on, what we can't call dumb and ignorance as good as any other channel. I'm assuming you're meaning that as an insult, Jeremy. He says, what we can't call dumb and ignorant as good as any other. Okay, I appreciate the input. I don't quite get what you're saying, but feel free to continue on. Let me go back to the box. Travelman, good evening. Can't complete a sentence. You talking about who, me? Biden? Trump? Who are you speaking on? Travelman, good evening.
Hey, what's going on, man? Long time no see.
Well, good to have you back on. We're talking about the country being shut down, borderlining on its longest period in U.S. history, and wanting to get the country back up and running. I'm asking a simple question. Is Trump the best man for the job under these circumstances?
No, he's not even the best man for any job, bro.
You don't think very much of him, huh?
Okay. Well, you just follow what he's done.
Well, he secured the border.
So let's start with this. Let's start with this one thing here. So I think back in July, August time frame, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody can Google it. I think the Democrats told the Republicans, if you send us a CR and it doesn't have anything in it related to the extension of the ACA subsidies, we're not going to sign it. They told them that on numerous occasions, at least 3 or 4 times. Now, if somebody tell you, don't do this, and they tell you what the repercussion is, and you do it anyway, how are you going to blame them? Because they told you what they were going to do. Perfect example. Trump told everybody, he said he ain't all this stuff, but he told us a lot of stuff that he was going to do. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
I'm going to put somebody on the Supreme Court, and they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And he did it.
Yeah.
People act surprised.
So are you suggesting that the Democrats fall under the category of promises made, promises kept?
Nope. All I'm saying is they told you not to send it up there, and you sent it. My take on that is to extend, and they only talking about a temporary extension of the ACA, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. A year.
So, but there was no problem making the tax cuts permanent, which is going to add, $3 trillion to the debt?
It's been estimated to do some financial damage, yeah.
Okay, so if you extend the ACA subsidies for 10 years, it's what? I think they said, I go with a high number, 700 million. Last time I checked, that's less zeros than 3 trillion.
A lot less, yeah. Yeah.
But we don't have a problem. We don't have a problem. If we don't make these tax cuts permanent, the American people are gonna have a large tax increase. Okay. If you don't extend these ACA subsidies, also the premiums are increasing anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's gonna be even worse. For what they said, 24 million people or maybe more? But see, people just look at that. The people don't look at the people that's not in the ACA. People on private insurance, their rates are going up too.
Why, and that is true, but why don't you think people notice that this stuff is not going to just affect the targeted audience that's complaining? Like if you get rid of EBT and SNAP, it's not just going to affect people that receive EBT and SNAP. Why don't you think people realize that?
Because if you control the media, you control the message.
So we constantly get messages about how terrible the ACA is. It didn't work, and all this, that, and the other. The rates are going up. But what they don't tell you is that for the last 10 years, from its inception, they have done nothing but try to sabotage it. Okay, instead of tweaking it. When you came out when Medicaid first came out or Medicare first came out, and Social Security, it was they wasn't 100% correct. But what they did was they worked together and they made tweaks to it and they improved the program.
But how about this? Because you're saying that the Democrats did indeed tell the Republican Party, and I remember that, telling them, if you're sending this bill back, we're not going to sign it because of what's in the big, beautiful bill. But one of my viewers, Cody, says, that's not a clean CR if you want to add something to the bill that was removed in the big, beautiful bill. So it's not a clean CR if you're trying to make changes to it. And he's saying that it's the Dems' fault, not the Republicans, because the Dems are trying to change what should have been just a routine clean CR because you're targeting the big, beautiful bill.
Okay, this is what they did. Trump told Thune and Johnson, do not talk to the Democrats. So they keep saying, well, you know what? You guys signed these bills before. Yes, they were negotiated before.
Yeah, but this time they're asking them to sign the same thing as last time. There's nothing changed.
No, they're asking them to sign a bill that is a partisan bill. It is a Republican bill. There's no input from the Democrats in there at all. Now, they want them to sign the bill, and it's not like the previous one they signed, because the previous one they signed was done before that monstrosity that they passed that the country don't like. So they're saying, okay, we push this bill down your throat using reconciliation, and we only need to fit whatever the majority in the House. So we push this bill down your throat, and now we're going to push this CR through, and it doesn't have any input from anybody else. Now you're gonna come to me and give me a piece of paper and say, hey, handsome liberal, look here, take a look at this. This is all the stuff we're gonna do. I want you to sign it, and you have no input.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of.
You gonna sign it?
Probably not, but at the end of the day, so let me ask you this to them. If all of the Democrats, better yet, all of the Republicans are in sync about let's opening up the government. I get your point that they're doing this without giving the Democrats any input for anything that they want in the bill at all. But I'm simply saying, if all the Republicans are in favor of keeping the government up and running so that people receive EBT and SNAP, and the only reason it's not happening is because of Democratic resistance, is this not going to fall on the Democrats as being blamed for why this is taking place?
Who control the government?
The Republicans.
Okay.
But they don't control enough of it. They still need, Trump said he needs 5 more Democrats.
You know what? You guys weren't saying that when the Democrats was in that position and they couldn't get stuff passed.
That is true.
Okay, nobody was saying that. They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Therefore, it is their responsibility to put a bill on there that can pass. If you don't put a bill that can pass, that's your responsibility. You're the leader.
So at the end of the day, if the Democrats continue to resist and folks start to starve, should the Democrats continue to resist? If people are not eating, should the Democrats, I've asked this to every viewer, should the Democrats bow down to the Republicans just for the sake of being able to feed poor people? Or should they continue resisting knowing that people are going hungry?
Why is it on the Democrats to do it? Why can't the Republicans do it?
I thought Michelle Obama said go hide. Okay, they're going low. People are starving.
You know what? People were doing that until they ran into what we've been dealing with since 2016, right? But let's look at this though. Why is it on the Democrats to do that? Let's look at the last 6 months or so. All the stuff that was congressionally passed, mandated by Congress, spending. And what did they do? They submitted rescission packages and they pulled the spending that was mandated by Congress and they sent it back to Congress and the Congress voted and took it down. Now, how can you don't think they won't do that again? You trust them?
I don't trust that if the Democrats do what Trump is saying and sign the bill that he's going to negotiate with them in good faith. No, I don't trust that. No,
He's a pathological liar.
No, I don't trust it.
It's just like, you know what? We passed this bill. They are going to cut $80 billion a year. I'm not going to talk in the 2-year time frame because, okay, they saying what is $900 billion or $1 trillion over a 10-year period. Okay, you talking $80 to $90 billion a year. They're cutting out of Medicaid, right? And how are they going to do that? They're going to do that by waste, fraud, and abuse. That's a bunch of waste, fraud, BS. That's what that is. That's not.
Why do you think though? Because what the stuff we're talking about is going to affect all Americans. It's not just going to affect Democrats, not just going to affect Republicans. It's going to affect all Americans, particularly if you are, closer to the poverty line. Why do you think Democrats and Republicans, under the same conditions, see things so differently?
Why?
I mean, why does a poor Democrat and a poor Republican, why do they have a completely opposite view of something that's going to likely affect both of them in similar fashion? They both have a totally different view of it.
How many times, bro, have in the last year or so have I came on here and said, who controls the message? Who controls the media?
You just said it again today.
So a lot of, and I just say, now, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of poor whites look at Fox News. They are in the right-wing media ecosystem. And that's the message that they're being given 24 hours a day. They listen to it on Fox News. They listen to it on OAN. They listen to it on what's the other one? The one that people, OAN, Fox News.
Newsmax.
Okay. They listen to that. And that stuff just goes in a loop all day long. And then if they want to go to the store, they go get in the car and they turn on talk radio. And talk radio is nothing but hate. And they listen to that, they get out the car, go back in the house, and they turn that crap right back on again. Yeah. So their view of it might be a little different. I'm not saying the Democrats are 100% right. All I'm saying is, if you control everything, it is your responsibility to put a bill on the floor that'll pass. And if your leader says, do not talk to them, that's on you. It's just like, don't pass the border bill. And they didn't pass it. Don't talk to the Democrat. Trump told them, don't talk to the Democrats. But see, what they do is they make, they fall behind this dude.
Yeah, but here's the problem though.
Congress has been neutered.
But
Congress has been neutered, bro.
I don't disagree with that, but here's the problem. I mean, Trump only has 3 years left in power, and let's say even if he does change the Constitution or whatever, I mean, fact is, Father Time is going to eventually get him. He ain't going to be around for the next 20 years. Some of these folks in Congress and in the Senate plan on being around for decades, a decade or two. So eventually, if you keep following Trump, when Trump is gone, you're going to have to basically pay the price for that. Why don't they seem to get that?
You know what? They're going to get it because, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen a couple of articles where some of the people in the Congress have told, the DOJ, the FBI, and some of the other people that's out here doing all this crazy stuff, ICE, they told them, keep all your documentation and go get a lawyer because you're going to be held responsible. The only person that has immunity is Trump. So he's the only one.
Trump is likely going to leave office pardoning a whole bunch of people. He may try to pardon.
He can't pardon everybody. It's too many.
He can't pardon everybody who was in ICE. They acted on behalf of the president. I give them a pardon. Anything you did on behalf of ICE, can he do that? Can he not do that?
He got to do it by name, don't he?
I don't think so. Well, maybe.
Okay, so maybe. What about? Let's go with this other thing you were saying. Because we're just basically like an outlaw country right now. We killing people. We're unaliving people in the Caribbean. We're unaliving people in the Pacific. We're just blowing people out the water. We don't know who they are. They admitted they don't know who they are. We got all this. We got all these assets down there. They just moved the Gerald Ford.
Yeah.
Okay. As a bird farm sailor myself, serving on the USS Nimitz, the USS America, and the USS Roosevelt.
And thank you for that service.
You're welcome, bro. When you move a battle group, bro, you don't just move. When you move a carrier, you don't just move the carrier. You move the whole battle group.
Wow.
Okay, so now you're talking about a carrier. You're talking about maybe a couple of destroyers, maybe a couple of cruisers, depending what's in the package. You're talking about a supply ship. You're talking about at least one, normally 2 submarines. That's what.
All for the cartel for Trinidad Agua.
You know, but that ain't the half of it, bro. It costs $8 million a day to run an aircraft carrier.
And that's just that boat.
$8 million a day, and that's on a nuclear one because nukes we don't have to worry about the fuel. So you're talking about $8 million a day to blow ships out the water, boats out the water, to confiscate a ton of something, whatever it is they got.
I don't even think they're confiscating any product because they would be showing you that. They don't even have proof. Yeah, it would be more advantageous if they were taking drug dealers out to capture them and their cargo, because you could do something with the cargo that may be of value, and you can possibly get money from the person that you're blowing up to just kill them.
Okay, and then when they get 2 survivors, they turn around and send them home. Okay, now we got all this stuff. Now we also have a MEU. You know what a MEU is, right?
A mule?
A MEU, M-E-U.
No.
Okay, so I was also in the Marine Corps too. So I did 3 years in the Marine Corps, 17 in the Navy. A MEU is a Marine Expeditionary Unit. So they got a full MEU in the Caribbean. That's thousands of Marines, combat Marines, ready to go to war. Okay, now let's take a look. What Venezuela? Somebody said something earlier about they're gonna go in and get the oil. First of all, you got to spend a couple of years just to repair the infrastructure. Because when Chavez took over, he nationalized the oil over there, and he kicked out all the U.S. companies, and the infrastructure from then has just went down. So you're talking about 10, 15 years where they got to go in and fix all of that. So how long before we get some oil? And then what's going to happen, because they do have a military, what's going to happen when the bags started coming back to Dover? Because they're going to come back.
You mean you believe there's going to be some American casualties?
If they put boots on the ground,
there's going to be casualties.
There will be casualties.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when America's focused on regime change, exploitation of resources, land grabs, have we ever cared about a few casualties?
No, but you know what? The country right now today, after coming out of 20 years of war, we've never did something so quickly behind the mood of the country right now. And we don't have a reason to go in there.
It is President Trump, though. We've been known to forgive and forget a little bit for President Trump. The country
No. The people that voted for him forgive and forget and twist themselves in knots to explain him.
That's a lot of people.
Everybody talking about, well, you know, Russia landed, I think you said Russia landed a cargo plane and they sent a bomber over there. You know what? Ukraine, thanks to the U.S., and we should thank them and shake their hand, pretty much decimated the damn professional Russian military, the army.
Yeah.
They ran them out the Black Sea. They sank some of their most advanced ships in the Black Sea, and they had to leave. They come in, they bringing North Korean soldiers in, they bringing some Chinese in, they bringing another one in. They got like 4 different countries fighting for Russia right now.
All of that for Ukraine. I got to move it on, travel man, but I don't get why Russia is that eager to get their hands back on Ukraine, other than not to have NATO right across the street from them. But
that's just a decoy. That's all.
There's a lot of dead bodies over at Decoy. Travel man.
That's a deflection.
Appreciate it, man. That's a hell of a deflection. Thank you.
Take care.
You too. All right, moving on with the program. 17 in the Navy, 3 in the Marines. So wow, travel man. Thank you. Cody Luck says, it's a bill that mirrors the last spending bill. He's talking about the bill they won't sign. The only change is some things got removed because the law changed. This is so funny how you make it sound it's the Republicans' fault here. You know something, I'm going to say it, in my opinion, I believe if I'm going to say why is it the Republicans' fault, I think the taunting and the accusations do not help the Republican Party. If the Democrats are being spoiled brats or whatever the case may be, treating them like shit is not going to help your cause. And ever since this whole thing started, you got Trump trolling and, you know, obviously posting pictures of dumping shit on the crowd. And I mean, he's constantly saying all kinds of awful shit online. That doesn't help That just doesn't help. I get people, you shouldn't be in your feelings, you shouldn't be in your emotions. You don't have to attempt to trigger people's feelings and emotions either. I really do not think while the country is divided and the government is shut down, it helps anybody out to have a president jump in the middle of all of that shit and start trolling. I really believe what Trump is doing is it's adverse to success. It's not, I don't see what he has done in regards to both parties not working with each other. I don't see where President Trump has done a damn thing to try to forward getting these parties to work together. I just, to me, he's doing the exact opposite. What President Trump is doing is something you would do if you want to keep them separated, keep them hating each other. I just don't see where his place is in this. And if we are a country that is being led by one person, which we've always been, that's the president, the commander in chief. If the people are fighting with each other, it's his job to do what he can to unify us. He takes sides. He actually takes sides. He doesn't push for unity at all. He jumps in the mud and starts fighting with one side. So to me, I'm going to, in answering the question presented, I don't think he's the right man for the job in terms of unity. In terms of unity, we can talk about all the other shit, the tariffs, or, how you feel about the international affairs and things like that as a separate topic. But in terms of getting the government back up and running when both parties are adamantly against each other and at each other's throats, he being the leader of the country, the stuff he's doing, that is not conducive to success. Maybe you guys have a different answer for that. Even if it is the Democrats' fault, even if it is the Republicans' fault, you need somebody to get the parties to the table to get the conversation moving again. He's not the man for that. They want a clean CR so we can negotiate with an open government so average Americans aren't starving. The Dems voted to close the government. It's on them to reopen it. The problem, though, is, Cody, the Democrats don't trust Trump. That's why I keep talking about the right man for the job. When Trump says just, sign the bill, open the government up, and then I'll meet and negotiate with you, they don't trust him. They don't trust him. I don't know how he can get the trust back, but that's why they're not bowing. They don't trust what he is promising to do once they do what he is asking them to do. They don't trust Trump to hold up his end of the bargain. We can argue back whether or not how the Democrats feel about this is legitimate or not. We can talk about it, but I'm simply saying they do not trust that if they do what Trump is saying, he is then in turn going to do what he is promising. They don't trust the guy. That's where the problem is. Democrats don't negotiate in good faith either. They oppose everything Trump wants, whether it's good or not. So I don't trust him either, says Cody. All right, I'm just simply saying that if both sides don't trust each other, that's where leadership is necessary. We need a leader that can stand up. Remember when Obama went on that alleged apology tour? Guess who he talked to? He talked to countries that didn't trust us. The goal was to win trust from countries that we had lost it in. Trump can do that. He just chooses not to. Trump can do the same thing. Okay, you don't trust me, but it is my job to make this country function. So I'm going to reach out to the folks that don't trust me and have a conversation with them. Obama could have did the same thing Trump does. Just keep blaming the Muslim world for all the problems on the planet, for terrorism, and they just keep insulting them. He could have done the same thing. So that's all I'm saying is you reaching across the aisle is a skill that I don't believe President Trump possesses. I just don't. Or he possesses a skill and just don't think it's a need. Thinks that I'm winning so much I don't need to negotiate with him. It's either my way or the highway. I got all the power. We have Fox, you have CNN, MSNBC, ABC. All the Newsmax is small time compared to those. Well, CNN is not as far left. That's a Trump. MSNBC is obviously a far left vehicle for the Democratic Party, and they don't hide that. But the Trump administration, when they came on the scene, they tend to believe that any news media outlet that criticizes Trump leans left. I don't buy that CNN is a arm of the Democratic Party. I just don't. I don't put CNN and MSNBC in the same category. I know the right does. And certainly ABC and those other networks, those are not, I don't see those. I'll tell you this. A lot of that's happened because Trump has been criticizing and insulting them so much. So look, if I got a network that I start and I intend for my network to be an unbiased network, to be fair to both sides, and all of a sudden the leader of one side just keeps insulting all of my staff and my reporters and journalists, by default, we're probably going to not start covering that guy fairly. We're probably not going to like the guy. And listen, I went to a couple of Trump rallies. I'll go back to the box, and tap the screen, by the way, get us on up to 50. I haven't asked that for a minute. Help your boy out with the TikTok cap goal. If you're watching on TikTok, you enjoy this type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program. We are MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We're here most weekdays. If you enjoy open dialogue like this, follow us if you're watching on Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram. Give your boy a sub if you're watching on YouTube. Yeah, appreciate the hat and mustache there, Lewis. So yeah, I'm sitting at a Trump rally, and Trump said something about the liberal media or whatever. He goes, "See, CNN don't cover that. See the red lights turning off on the cameras." I'm actually sitting in the back near the cameras. I can see the CNN reporter just lying, just making up lies. I think a lot of stuff that Trump says about CNN is not true. Yeah, there are people who work for CNN that don't like Trump, but a lot of the folks that were at CNN when Trump got elected to become president were attempting to be fair and balanced. In fact, CNN put Trump on television a whole lot during his first run for president, and he was insulting them the whole damn time, and they kept covering him. So CNN is not MSNBC. It's just not. I don't put it in the same category. Why would we want to play? Well, why we want to play? I guess something place a party who's called us Nazis and fascists and say we shouldn't have power. It goes both ways. So what are you saying? Why would you want to work with the Democratic Party when they're calling you Nazis and fascists? Because you're calling them communists and saying they hate America. Names go both ways. Look, you don't, if you either want the country to succeed or you don't. I mean, look, the name calling goes both ways. That's been that way since we were all born. The right talks about the left talks about the right. Rush Limbaugh made a killing doing that long before Trump came along. But eventually, if you want the country to succeed, we got to work together. You can't say the liberals are in their feelings and all of this shit when you're saying stuff like that too. CNN was nothing but anti-Trump for 8 years. I think it's the opposite. I think Trump was anti-CNN. Let me go back to the box. Miss Mobetta, good evening. Welcome to the program. You do realize half the MAGA supporters would never accept you as a member because you're black, right? Half? You think that's true, Miss Mobetta? Half of MAGA wouldn't accept me because I'm black. Tim Scott is down with MAGA. Byron Donalds is down with MAGA.
They're being generous. It might be 75%.
No.
Yeah, okay. You continue to be modest, Tim. I'm gonna leave you alone. Because
okay, wait. Let me ask.
Another nice suit on today.
Thank you. Let me ask it like this: when the caller said, or when the viewer stated that MAGA wouldn't accept me in what capacity? I mean, as a politician, as a supporter,
in any fashion.
Not even as a supporter.
No.
There's a ton of black MAGA out there.
Have you seen the videos with their black MAGA supporters and they still got beat up at a Trump rally? Did you see that?
No.
That happened. Yeah, that happened last year. They was like, oh, you don't fuck around and find out. Yeah, they kicked his ass out there.
He had to be doing something, didn't he?
He probably did. Who knows? I don't know, but I know he was a black MAGA. He was a blagger, and he was at a Trump rally, and they were out there scrapping.
Well, as someone who went to a Trump rally myself, they were very welcoming to me. I mean, I was in line for 5 hours talking to Trump supporters. People would interview me. I didn't have any problem with it.
Yeah, no, some of them would take you in. Not all of them, but you have, like that lady that was out that got her ass whipped by that man. You have a lot of them that are like her. They just.
I mean, if you're doing stupid shit, you're gonna have a problem no matter where you're at. I mean, if you're white and you go to a Democratic gathering and you're talking shit, and I see the comment, Cody says we love black people. We have a ton of black people in our movement. As long as you're respectful, I think that I don't know about I won't go into the.
I mean, that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
However, let's not go there, please, Tim.
I just think it's
because then you have to give a whole history lesson that some people are just not willing to learn.
Okay.
They're just not willing to learn the history lesson of why things are running the way they're running right now. So let's just not go there unless you want the hard truth. Unless you want that true transparency that you may not like, then when it's given out, then they'll start calling me a racist.
But I don't talk to any of my guests, whether they're liberals or on the right or in the middle. Everybody I talk to, I want the hardcore true truth. That's the only reason why I want to talk to you.
I get it. Yeah. However, no, Trump is not the man for the job. He's not, nor has he never been.
So
again, listen, when it comes to businessmen are the men who have the best pitch. It has nothing to do with what program they have, what they have on the back end. My thing is to reel you in. And then when you leave their businesses, it feels like you were great.
Damn.
It felt like they great you because of the shit that they pitch to you to get you in is not the shit that they give you once they get you in there. Businesses fail. A lot of them fail, and they're going to be failing again, including America, being that they about big business. America's going to fall too.
Well, I was told that Trump, we need the country to be ran like a business. Trump is the guy for that. He's a great negotiator.
Yeah,
These are the attributes that folks suggested that made Trump a better president than Biden and certainly Kamala Harris, is that he is business oriented. This is the guy you need to speak to other world leaders.
What negotiations has he done that to this day that's actually benefiting us? I don't want to hear about none of his business and all that shit. All that shit is past. What negotiations, him being this so-called businessman, is he doing to have us sustained today as of October 31st, 8:19 Eastern Standard Time?
That's a great question. And before I answer that, Debo says Tim is probably lying about getting beat up. What he said, I got beat up You said I got beat up at a Trump rally?
You fluffing about an ass whooping?
I would listen, if they done some shit like that, I would tell you I'm gonna go as a content creator. I would let you know. That's funny though. But you asked a really good question, Ms. Roberta, before Debo interrupted me with that hilarious shit. It really cracked me up. But you asked a really good question, and that is, what if Trump is such a great negotiator? What has he done negotiation-wise that's been beneficial to this country? I gotta pass that on to the audience. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Goldilocks or whoever that's been giving you all of the slack over there. Answer that question. That's who we want to answer the question.
I mean, I'll say it like this. He's told us of a lot of great negotiations, but we know sometimes the stuff he says doesn't pan out because he made it sound like negotiating with Russia was going to end that war and things like that. I guess.
We wouldn't no respect him. We told you that a long time ago.
Yeah.
He was laughing at his ass all the way to his airplane. He's like, this fool. And look where he is now. He's setting up shop down there.
But that's a great question. I want somebody to let me know in the comments. I got a bunch of people right now referring to me as Uncle Ruckus, but I would be curious to know.
We don't see you like that. They gonna say what they gonna say.
Yeah,
I know they gonna have something for me too before I get off here.
Yeah, I've always been everything from a raccoon or a coon rather to an Uncle Ruckus to what is the other one? Sambo, and I get them all.
Sambo, and they keep, like I said, when they call you Uncle Tom, take that as a compliment. Uncle Tom was a good man.
Yeah. The crazy thing is the
return, but he was a good man.
Yeah, the crazy thing is I'm getting called a Sambo and Uncle Tom by folks who are colored, and And on the right, they're calling me the N-word. So listen, when you have a free speech program,
black people, brown people, it's okay. And because with MAGA reaction, whoever colored, you got pale skin, blue eyes, blonde hair. If those are not colors, what are they?
Yeah. Yeah, and they have that. That was the old joke. They have the nerve to call us color with all that. But he says, I trust businessmen more than career politicians. How about that? Trump, he is a lifelong businessman. Some folks say that.
See, the difference in politicians and businessmen are for self. They're all about making their money. They're not out here to sell you a car and give you a refund after you walk off the lot with it. They're all about self.
Well, let me ask you that. If you were at a dealership and you were purchasing a vehicle and Trump was on the other side of the table as a salesman, would you trust what he said?
Absolutely not. I didn't even trust the man that I bought my car from now. Let alone him. And this is my next thing. Like how do they expect Democrats to bow to him when he blatantly said on national TV that he hates them? Yeah. That's like somebody coming in your house and stealing your shit out of there, and then you gonna say, all right, I'm gonna let you back in. The devil is a whole lie.
Yeah, and that's what I've said in terms of getting this country to work together. I don't think that having a president state that he hates Democrats helps the country. Listen, I understand that Democrats don't like Trump and he gets criticized and things like that, but at some point as a leader, you got to know what battles to get involved in. He doesn't allow the opposition to like him. To give him and see, that's even, and I hate to keep like comparing him to Obama and stuff, because that's it, that ship has sailed. We probably will never see that type of day again as far as Obama running. However, you had people that didn't like Obama either, but he didn't get out there and say, "Oh, I hate y'all," or y'all making fun of handicapped people. He didn't do none of that, and they did everything in their power to try to destroy that man. Yeah. He still did his job. He didn't say, I'm going to cancel all Republican programs. I'm going to do all of that stuff. He didn't do none of that stuff. Biden didn't even do that stuff. Yeah. And that's the point, because I often bring up that George W. Bush, in his book Decision Points, which is over here somewhere, he stated that one of the things, when they leave office, they write books. Biden's working on a book right now, but George Bush said one of the things that hurt him during his time in office is that after Hurricane Katrina and our lackluster response, Kanye West got on TV and said George W. Bush does not like black people. Yeah. You may have seen it on Saturday Night Live or whatever. But anyway, you notice George W. Bush did not attack Kanye West. Just like you're pointing out how Obama didn't attack, Rush Limbaugh, some of them folks. Trump attacks back. And I know MAGA likes that stuff, but it does come with consequences, such as what we're going through now.
And they keep talking about that's just words. I keep telling you how many times I tell you, the power of life and death lies in the tongue. And especially when you're in certain positions, you're held to a higher standard. He's supposed to be a leader of the free world. He's supposed to be a leader, and he displays a schoolyard behavior. Yeah. How does people supposed to respect that? I don't care how much money you got. Not all money is good money. Believe that. And he was born, he started out with millions of dollars. If he'd have fucked that up, he didn't deserve any money.
Yeah. And I see in the comments, all things melancholy says, laughing my ass off. Y'all pick and choose shit too much. I just wish there wasn't shit to pick and choose. I mean, like
he
for
gives
instance,
us too much. He gives us the ammunition.
Yeah, I don't deny that. Anytime you're saying that Trump is taken out of context or what he did was just a joke, you're probably defending something that's part of the reason why we're in this situation now. Like, I thought it was funny that he posted a picture of him in a jet dumping shit on the protesters. That's the reason. That kind of stuff is the reason we're in what we're in now.
Exactly, and that's exactly why the Democrats are not folding to his ass right now. Again, bring some kind of incentive to the table. Like, all right, you talk about if they come meet with me, then I'll negotiate. No, you're not to be trusted. You've proved that you can't be trusted with your speeches alone.
Yeah, I wish he would stop doing that. I don't think he's gonna. It's become currency to him. It's very valuable to him. The right loves it. But I mean, do we want the country to remain divided for the next 3+ years? I mean, we're the country.
It's insane. It's insane, Tim. It's insanity because you don't see people. It's dividing it more and more every day.
Yeah, I've said it on many lives is that you can do one or the other. If you want to take revenge on people that have wronged you, you know, whether you think the 34 felonies are a hit job or you think Biden used the DOJ or what, if you want to take revenge on people that you believe that have wronged you and you want to continue insulting and trolling people you think that speaks negatively of you, you can either do that or you can get the country to work together. You cannot do them simultaneously. And he seems to think that somehow, some way, he should be able to do them both at the same time. That's never going to happen.
He wants complete power. He wants complete control. He doesn't even really respect Congress. They fear him. They fear that if I don't do what he says, then I'm not going to be able to hold my position. He's going to get me out of office. So of course they're going to kowtow to him.
Yeah.
Step and fetch. Those are the real step and fetches. The Mike Johnsons and them, like, those are the step and fetches.
Can you blame Trump though? I mean, look, if you can get away with it, more power. I mean, he's.
I mean, again, I don't believe it'll end well for him. It appears that he's winning now. He might be rich as the Dickens, but one of the richest men in the world is dead.
What are you talking about?
What's his name? Bill Gates? What's his name? No.
Bill Gates ain't dead.
No. What's his name? Steve Jobs.
Yeah, but he didn't die. When you say it's not going to end well for Trump, he's already damn near 80 years old. He's got a supermodel wife. He's got a wealthy family.
Because he still has so much stuff lingering, and he's creating more. When you're talking about these WAR crimes and all kinds of stuff, this stuff is not going to end well for him.
You believe that one day he will face some sort of accountability?
Yeah, absolutely. And they want to do like they did with George Bush when they was throwing them chancletas at him. When he was over and they was throwing shoes
with
at
the
him.
Shoe, yeah, he dodged the shoe, yeah.
They're going to want to publicly humiliate this man. And he doesn't take stuff well. He doesn't take rejection and all of that stuff.
He has immunity, Miss Mobetta. How's he? He's not going to face any.
He doesn't have it for life.
Yeah, he does. He's the president.
It's not going, Tim. First of all, it's not absolute immunity. It's not. You have to go back and read it. It's not. So if it doesn't protect anything personal. Anything that he's done outside of presidency, it doesn't protect him. He got a lot of stuff, and it doesn't protect him against war crimes either. So you have to read this stuff and look at what exactly is covered under that immunity.
I think you're going if you believe what you, I think you're going to be.
And it doesn't protect him internationally.
Well, you just like Netanyahu, you don't have to lead a damn country, or when you do, you go places that are going to treat you right.
I tell you what, but with him setting up shop with Qatar and all of that stuff over here, I smell a setup. I'm sorry. I do. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I smelled the setup with the free jet the moment it happened. I got to move it on, Mr. Mobetta, but I do agree with that last part. I do agree with that part. Some people believe he's planning an escape route to Argentina. I don't believe that. But nevertheless, Mr. Mobetta, thank you. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Look, I kind of disagree with my last call on that last part. I don't think Trump will ever face any kind of accountability, even if he is wrong on some stuff. The guy is almost 80. For the sake of the country, for the sake of the nation, I think that even if you get a liberal that follows President Trump up, they will say, look, let bygones be bygones. You do something else to make up with any other country that may have gotten wrong, throw some money their way or something like that. I don't think Trump's going to end up in jail, or I don't see it. I think Trump's going to ride off into the sunset, a wealthy old man. Now, people that surround Trump, whole different story. A lot of them may end up losing their ability to earn an income in their careers as lawyers and things like that, get kicked out of politics, et cetera, et cetera. But because that's what's been happening. That's not just speculation. That is actually what's been happening since President Trump came down the golden escalators. He's been continuing to win and get what he wants, and everybody around him has been really paying steep and heavy prices. Look how much money Mike Lindell of My Pillow lost. Look how much money Rudolph Giuliani lost. Look how much money and professional capabilities the folks, the fake electors, the January 6 people, they got pardoned, but they lost a lot of money. A lot of them lost their jobs, their families. You got to think, a lot of people around Trump are constantly losing, but he himself, he keeps winning. Miss Mobetta always makes me hungry. Chin X. Miss Mobetta is making you hungry. How is that? Cody says, Abraham Accord. Okay, the question was, what has Trump negotiated to make this country better? I couldn't come up with anything. I still don't know, but I'm going to read a viewer's comment. He's going to give us some answers on what negotiations Trump's been involved in to make this country better off. Tap the screen, get us up to 60,000. Enough of you folks in here. Tap the green screen, show the program some love. Help your boy out with the TikTok cap goal. You guys know we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. If you like this type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program if you're watching on YouTube, or better yet, give us a sub if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a follow if you happen to be watching on Instagram, TikTok, and or Facebook. Okay, so here's the negotiated. He says the Abraham Accords. He also points out the Pakistan-India Treaty. Now, Trump is taking credit for ending the war there in Pakistan and India. I appreciate that, C. Osby. Thank you very much for that hat. The UK trade deal. I know what came out of the trade deal with the United Kingdom. He's pointing to that anyway. He says the Japan trade deal. Now, are these deals actually on paper, or are they handshakes? Like the notion that China is going to start purchasing U.S. soybean, because Trump does a lot of handshake deals that don't culminate in anything. He did a handshake deal with Kim Jong-un during his first term. We didn't get nothing out of that. And he also has done some handshake talk with Vladimir Putin. We have gotten nothing out of that either. So I'm asking, what kind of deal is it? But you said the Japan trade deal says he got the European Union to get more percentage of their military spending, so they are not relying on us as much for defense. That last one is confirmed. I agree with that last one. Trump did get NATO member countries, with the exception of Spain, to increase their defense spending. I don't know if that is actually translated into any benefit for America, because we haven't went to war and needed any of that stuff. But those countries are now spending more money on their own defense. Them spending more money on their own defense, I don't believe it's translated into us spending less money for defense. So it's a good thing for NATO. And if we ever need NATO as a whole, it would be beneficial for the United States. But I do agree that he has gotten them to spend more money on defense. I think Spain is the only country that didn't do it. Clear politicians want more power and are career liars. The problem is, though, President Trump was not a career politician, and he hasn't been honest at all. I'm not going to argue with the notion that career politicians tell a lot of lies, but President Trump has told a lot of lies as well. He is not, just the 2020 election alone, most of the stuff he says about it is not true, or at the very least not proven to be true. So it's hard to point to the career politicians as telling lies while defending Trump, because he's just not honest. The Stormy Daniels shit. That's why the Democrats now do not favor getting the government open and trusting that he's going to sit down and negotiate in good faith. He's not honest either. But I do agree, career politicians are known for lying. Biden absolutely tried to silence conservatives. Look, I know Zuckerberg and then Elon purchased Twitter, and they were able to prove that the Democrats were trying to silence stuff on the websites and things like that. Here's one thing I don't like, though. Anytime someone suggests that Trump did something that is wrong or immoral or something of that nature, defenders of Trump, and I'm talking about my beloved MAGA, defenders of Trump never seem to say what you're accusing Trump of that is wrong or immoral, he didn't do it. It's always, well, you know, Biden or Obama did something similar. The phrase he didn't do that never comes out of their mouth. If Biden or Obama did something that you know is wrong, why defend it when Trump does it on the guys that, well, you let Biden and Obama get away with it? If you didn't like when Biden and Obama was doing it, why do you like it now? If you thought it was wrong then, it should be wrong now. But that is one of the things you never seem to hear when you're making accusations against Trump. MAGA never says he didn't do that. It's all, well, you know, somebody else did it too. I wish that would change. I'm just going to say that. And if a Democrat gets in there after Trump, I hope we can continue saying that they didn't do it either. But it doesn't seem like the right is actually saying Trump didn't do any of this stuff. They're more like, look, somebody else did it, so he should be able to do it as a defense. Trump tried to play with the Democrats on 2016 and 2020, and he was given attacks in response. So this term, he ain't playing anymore. I don't think that's the whole story. Cause you're saying that you said Trump tried to play with the Democrats 2016 and 2020. I don't know if he, well, listen, I don't even know if he was really working with the Democrats then, but he didn't have all the power he has now. He had folks on his administration, Ambassador Bolton's, the Attorney General Barr. He had folks on his own administration, Mike Pence later on with the 2020 election. He had people on his own administration that would push back against things they thought was wrong. You don't have those people now. I don't believe J.D. Vance would have hesitated to not certify the election like Mike Pence did. Pam Bondi is a lot more friendly to whatever Trump suggests than somebody like Attorney General Barr. I mean, the people he has on his administration now are going to just act without asking questions. He didn't have that his first term. He had folks on his first term that had served this country honorably under other administrations. And they were going to, what did General Milley say? You take an oath to the country, not to one man. The people on Trump's administration now, in my opinion, and I want to be wrong on this, but I don't think I am, but I really want to be wrong on this. The people on Trump's administration now, I believe, actually favor him more than the United States. I really believe that. If he says do something that goes against the code or law of the United States, they will do that. His first administration, they were going to honor the Constitution of the United States first and then try to give him what he wants. Because Mike Pence stated in his book that he actually tried to look into giving Trump what he wanted on refusing to certify Biden's election. And his own attorneys told him that if you do that, you're going to be dealing with law cases and court cases for the rest of your life. So he was told by his own legal counsel that you can't do this. I don't think J.D. Vance would have gave it down. Trump would have told him, don't worry about it. If I'm put back in, I got your back. And J.D. Vance would have just did it. Mike Pence saw it differently. Go after Trump for war crimes, do the same for Obama. What has Obama did as a war crime? I'd like to know. Let me know. Hey, listen, if Obama committed war crimes, he should be punished for them. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me know, though. You got to prove Trump did what you were accusing him of. We have proof the Democrats did all. You don't have proof that the Democrats stole the election or that the Democrats wired Trump's office. Trump says a lot of things that he don't have proof of. Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get us on up to 60. I like the fair assessment. Say when our leaders are wrong, just acknowledge it. We all should call out wrong instead of its hardcore loyalty, even if it hurts us. Wow, that is true. I agree with that, Triplet. I do agree with that. Call it out on both sides. Don't just favor the guy that is in charge to the point where you're willing to ignore whatever they do. MAGA Reacts, good evening.
Tim, I don't know where to start with you today.
Pick a place and give it to me straight. Go ahead. What you got?
Well, we have FAFSA warrant that were used to spy on the entire campaign of Trump. So they definitely spied on his campaign.
Trump said that Obama wiretapped his office. He proved that?
I mean, they had FAFSA warrant wiretapping his employees that were at his office.
That ain't what he said. He said he wiretapped his office. Does he have
This is
proof
the
of
other
that?
bullshit. Like, oh, he's lying because it's not 100% the way we say it. You know, oh, he didn't wiretap the phone that he uses every day. He wiretapped the phone outside his office, his secretary's phone. So he's lying about him wiretapping his phone.
Okay, so
this is bullshit like logic I gotta deal every day when I talk to you. It's
okay,
like,
how do you wait? How do you have proof that Obama signed on the dotted line to get this done? Even if the Democrats did it, he said, wait a minute.
Like,
Wait a
it
minute.
wasn't Obama himself, it was his DOJ.
That ain't what he said. Obama did it.
Well, there was also memos that were released recently that showed that Obama's basically pushed them to investigate Trump. So there is proof of that. Obviously, I don't have every fucking piece of paper in front of me.
And neither does he. That's why I'm saying he doesn't have proof. He said Obama.
It was released by DOJ. I don't know if it was this term or the last term, but I definitely seen the paperwork. It basically Trump, Obama and a bunch of people had a meeting, and he pushed them to investigate Trump more.
Investigating. No,
obviously you didn't get it because you don't.
Because what he said is that while he was president, Obama wiretapped his office as president. Obama was no longer president anymore when he announced
his
this.
campaign. He never said as president. It was always his campaign as president-elect, maybe.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he said it while he was president. I'm just going to simply say he didn't provide proof of that.
Either way, it's fucked up. Whether it's president-elect, or even as a campaign, like running against Hillary, he shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, and I see in the comments one of my viewers said Obama killed a U.S. citizen overseas with a trial. Hold on, with a trial because he was related. Because he was related to a trust he killed earlier that year. What is he talking about?
I remember something about Obama killing some guy's son that was an American citizen.
Obama, I remember hearing about an individual, an American citizen that went to the Middle East on behalf of ISIS and was fighting against Americans. And Obama gave the approval to drone the guy, and that killed the guy. I know he droned an American.
That case.
Huh?
Yeah, I think that's the case he's talking about. I really don't care about that.
Right, I don't. Why the hell is that even is even considered wrong? If you are trying, if I go to a U.S. military base and I start trying to harm U.S. soldiers, they're gonna kill me too. What's the difference if you do it in the Middle East versus if you do it in San Diego?
Or if you do it in the middle of like the water in Venezuela, because they're dealing drugs and bringing drugs to America.
Thank you for trying to slip that bullshit in there. But the guys in the middle of Venezuela, they don't even give us any identification of who they are. We know who the people that.
Yeah, we know they're not Americans. This guy, we knew he was American. No. These are non-Americans bringing drugs to America.
We don't even know what nationality the people they're killing are MAGA reacts. We don't know who they are. We don't know their names. We don't know their genders. We don't know anything about them.
Well, we know those are drug boats. That's for sure. I made that clear in my little video.
You don't know where the boat is headed. You don't have any proof there's drugs on the boat. None of that.
Oh, it's headed to either, any of the Caribbean islands or Florida or Puerto Rico.
Okay, so it's in international waters with an unknown destination, unknown cargo. You don't know who the individuals are. You tell them you can kill somebody based on that little bullshit?
I mean, transporting drugs is illegal in the whole world.
How do you know that that actually, you can't just take out somebody in international waters that is quote unquote transporting drugs. If I'm transporting drugs between Japan and South Korea, an American has no business blowing up the vessel.
Look, I'm sure we've blown up a lot more people, especially in the Middle East, for a lot less.
Okay, so we've been crooks, so we've done criminal shit before, is what you're saying.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And so we're doing criminal shit now.
My argument is that's a drug boat, and that's the only argument I'm making about that drug boat. It's a drug boat. Don't say it's a fishing boat. There's not a single accessory on that boat for fishing, for an anchor to be able to anchor in the middle of the water. no accessories to tie to another. There's nothing on that boat. It's just a straight up drug boat. It's only meant for transporting drugs.
Even if everything you're saying is true, and I don't believe it, but even if everything you're saying is true, it still goes to my point. There's still so much more stuff you can't prove. You can't prove that they're drug. For all you know, a drug boat could have been parked somewhere and somebody stole it. You don't know there's drugs on there. You don't know the people are drug dealers. You don't know the destination. You don't know how much fuel is on board. You don't know anything else other than, it looks like a drug boat, so just destroy it.
No, it is a drug boat.
Okay.
And you don't steal
that's not.
They're not useful for anything else.
That's bullshit. That's not. You can be erasing it. You can be. You can't kill people because they're riding in a vehicle that's known to be operated by drug dealers. That's all you need to do to get killed is get in a boat that looks like what a drug dealer using. That alone is enough to kill you.
No, it's just straight. It's not. It's just a straight up drug boat. Like it's not like.
I get that. I get that.
Fast boat. It's not like one of the boats you see in Miami Vice, where like, oh, it's a super fast boat that drug dealers like to buy. This is just straight up 100% drug boat. I understand
what you're saying, but what I'm saying is if I get a boat and outfit it the same way a drug dealer's boat is outfitted, and I am in the seas in that boat, that alone is enough to kill me?
But that's not an outfitted boat. That is a home-built drug boat. They didn't take a boat and strip it down and took off all that.
What's the difference between home-built and outfitted?
Outfitted usually is outfitted with things that you need on the water. This isn't outfitted with anything, period. Has zero everything. So it's just meant to carry drugs and have motors and gas and drugs.
Okay.
That's why it's clearly a drug boat. Usually boats are outfitted with things you need in the middle of the ocean. It's usually designed where you could walk around so you could fish. So
let me ask you this way. Let's say, for instance, I am a big time drug dealer, and I want a boat that can deliver drugs from Venezuela to America, and I get somebody to sell me a boat that can do that, as you say, a drug dealer boat. So I'm going to have somebody test this boat out just to make sure it's seaworthy. I'm going to put a couple men out. I want you guys to go 100 miles out and come back in and test this boat out. Why that boat is out to get blown up? Did they deserve to get blown up? They got no cargo or anything.
Well, you can see the cargo, first of all, and most of those.
You can't see the cargo in the. No, you can't.
There's a bunch of black boxes in the blue one, actually.
You don't know what the hell. You're giving way too much credit to stuff you can't prove. You can't prove from the air that what you're looking at is drugs. You can't prove that. I
don't know if it's the same exact cargo, but there was another photo they released with the drugs floating in the water and the cocaine spilling out.
Maybe they should release who they actually killed. How about that, MAGA?
I'm with you. I wish they had more proof so I don't have to be here arguing this stuff.
So you believe this was
arguing is it's a drug boat, because this isn't a regular boat that they stripped down. Like I said, if it was a regular boat, it would have the place where the accessories were, and you can see where they ripped off the stuff. But this is just straight up built. It's as close as to that submarine, a homemade submarine, for doing the same thing as you could get.
So you believe these were legitimate murders?
I believe these were drug boats. I'll go as far as that.
That ain't the question I'm asking you, though. Even if, as I stated, I could take a drug boat and take it out for a test. A drug, just because it's a drug boat, that alone is not a death sentence. Just like in the hood, people have certain cars that look like what the drug dealers and pimps normally have. But just because you own that car, don't mean they can treat you like a pimp or a drug dealer.
Well, if there's like 4 holes in the back of the fucking car, then yes, they can.
And that would be different. If you could show me proof of the 4 holes in the back of the car, then we got a different argument. We didn't see any proof.
You can see the cargo. There's a bunch of black boxes in the hull of the boat.
You can't prove that what's in those boxes is drugs. You can't prove that.
Those women are hoes, but there are 4 girls in the back of a pimp's fucking car. Like, what do you want me to say?
So I'm going to ask you again, are those legitimate murders that Trump is committing?
I wouldn't go that far. I don't think they're 100%
then that's a problem. Somebody like yourself who voted for Trump.
They're not anything else. They're not anything innocent. I don't even think the mechanics testing the drug boat before they give it to the guy.
But that's the problem, though, MAGA. That somebody like yourself who admits you support Trump, You're not even confident they're legitimate murders. That speaks volumes. You're not even confident.
I just don't want to debate it. I don't want to go into that.
They just say yes. Then just quickly say yes. The murders are legit.
I mean, I believe they're legit, but I don't want to. I don't have enough proof or enough of an argument.
And that's a bad position to be in when you're actually murdering somebody. I don't really have enough proof. I believe the person should have been murdered, but I don't have enough proof.
Than I am. You're a much better debater than I am.
No, you're good at it. You're good at it. You put a good effort into it. I just think that when you say people are murdered, and you're like, I really don't have enough proof, so I don't want to discuss it. It almost sounds like you're sweeping murders under the rug.
No, I can't debate you on them. I mean, I know boats, but
yeah, but here's the problem. Now, if we were talking about one boat being blown up, I could kind of entertain what you're saying, but the fact is he's blown up like 14 different boats, and you can't prove even one of these. The best proof I can give Trump, if I'm defending Trump, is one of the boats he took out was a submersible. So, yeah, you don't normally have submarines to do anything other than try to sneak shit in. But even that, you can't prove actually had cargo on it.
Well, that's the sad part, that like these people have had so much. This was so easy for them that they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They don't need to use a submersible because no one was going after them. So why even hide it? Like, they didn't even try to cover up the drugs. You can see the drugs from the air. They're not even trying to smuggle anything. They're just transporting it because no one was going after them.
Well, you know something, when you look at the boats, and like you did a video yourself claiming that this boat could do a 1,700-mile journey if it had enough fuel or whatever. How do you know the stuff you're seeing from the air is not fuel tanks? It may not be drugs. You may be looking at fuel tanks from the air.
Again, I know how boats work. The fuel tanks are usually on the bottom because you don't want a boat to be top heavy. They're usually on the bottom, and they're very big.
How many boats you've seen that are that size that's carrying enough fuel to do a 1,700? Because the boat's only doing 40 knots or whatever. I mean, 1,700 miles. That's 24 hours. That's over 24 hours of continual. If you're doing 40 knots on the open sea, that means that boat needs to do 1,700 miles. That boat needs to be at full speed for like 24 straight hours or more.
No, you're wrong about that part. First of all, that boat could do 80 miles an hour, but the most efficient fuel is at 40 miles an hour. So if you're doing 80 the whole way, it won't make it. But at 40 miles an hour, you'll make it as far as you want. I mean, I hold 1,000 gallons all day. It's about the same size as a cigarette boat. You know what I'm talking about when I say cigarette boat?
No.
Those boats easily hold 1,000 gallons. So even though this is an outboard and not an inboard like cigarette boats, it could easily hold 1,000 gallons. I mean, there's a lot of 50-foot boats that could easily hold 1,000 gallons, especially if they don't have to do anything else but carry fuel and drugs. It could easily hold 1,000 gallons. And
let me ask it to you this way: do you believe? Let's say, for instance, we were able to confirm that somebody was trying to bring keys of cocaine to America. Do you believe that confirmation that they're trying to bring cocaine into America, do you believe that alone is enough to kill them on the spot?
I mean, if they're international water, yes. If they're in the waters of like Florida.
What if you catch them at the border? What if you catch them at the border in El Paso or in San Diego coming in from Tijuana? You go through their car or whatever they're driving across the border, and they got, a couple 100 pounds of smack on them. Do you believe that it would be? Do you believe it should be take them in the back and kill them? Do you think they should deserve to lose their life for that on the spot?
In that case, you arrest them, but you're like kind of expecting an airplane to pull over a boat. It's kind of hard to do.
No, it ain't hard to do. That's the way we've been doing it since before Trump got in office. That's the way we've always done it.
In our waters, yes, but this is like far away from America.
Well, the reason we haven't done it far away from America is because that's not legal. It's not legal to automatically assume someone is hundreds of miles away from America with many other options of other countries they got to pass. It's not legal to automatically assume they're coming to America. That's why it ain't been done, because it's not legal.
We're number one buyers of these drugs.
What?
And, they're heading our way. So
There's no way to prove that. I think you would admit just because America is the primary purchaser of narcotics, you do admit those other countries do use it. There's no way to prove someone that far away is coming to America.
I don't know. I think
you don't know that
in that situation. I mean, I agree with you. I don't have enough to debate that point, but I don't think it's that great of a point. Like, just because the drugs are going to Europe doesn't make it any less of our problem.
Why not make an effort? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Why not make an effort to at least stop the boat? At least try. Show where you fired a couple rounds and the boat just didn't stop and you kept missing it. Why not at least try something other than just straight murder?
Because this is the Navy. It's not the Coast Guard. It's not local police on boats.
The Navy can do everything the Coast Guard can do.
Whatever they're using.
The Navy can do everything. The Navy could dispatch a Black Hawk with a guy hanging out the side, firing a 50 cal in the water. They can do everything the Coast Guard can do.
I guess. And then one Navy guy dies, and then there goes the whole mission.
All right, MAGA. I gotta move it on.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't agree with it 100%, to be honest with you. But I also not bothered by it either. You know?
Not bothered by potentially.
I would prefer it the way you want. In a perfect world, I would prefer it your way. But this isn't a perfect world, and you're not dealing with sane people.
No, you're not. No, it's not a perfect. No, it's not a perfect.
In our in our waters.
This has nothing to do with a perfect world. This is not a perfect president. He is choosing to murder these people, even though he has other options. He is literally choosing murder as an option. There are other ways to deal with narcotics traffickers. You don't have to actually skip all the way up to murder. He's choosing to do that.
I got you, but these are also known. Well,
I'm not arguing. Even if everything else you said is true.
Going after.
Yeah, even if everything else you said is true, even if it's a drug boat that's carrying drugs that is headed to America, which is a lot of assuming, but let's say all of that is true, you still do not have to skip all the way to murdering them. He is choosing to murder people as an option.
I guess. I mean, how many of those Somali pirates have we caught?
Once again, this goes back to what I just said. When you say Trump did something, as opposed to saying he didn't do it, we start talking about somebody. Now we're going to Somali pirates. I got to move it on, MAGA. Thank you for coming through.
One last thing. The reason he's the best man for the job is he keeps going and going. He's like the fucking Energizer battery. Like, I've never seen a man with so much energy to do so much. You know?
I mean, listen.
You can't stop him. You can't take the wind out of his sail. You can't. You know, some people get depressed and stop working. He just keeps going and working and working. I've never seen someone as busy as him.
I'm fine with him holding a vigorous schedule, but if I'm doing stuff you don't like, the fact that I stay up to the middle of the night doing it is not necessarily an accomplishment.
I know, but it's crazy though. Like people who work that hard, I never bet against them, and that's kind of the reason he still got my support, because I'm hoping he's going to eventually get it right. He's not getting it 100% right. He's like at 60-70% right now, but I'm assuming with that kind of effort, he'll eventually get it right. And yeah, I mean, I got to hope for the best. We have no other option right now.
Good luck with that. MAGA, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, man. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen, get your guy on up to, what are we at? Can we get to 60? Y'all can make that happen, right? Tap the screen. Who did he say used for target practice? I didn't hear that, Arletha. Freedom Fighter says anyone can walk and talk. I hope so. I'm out for the night, and yes, it's legal when cartels are recognized as terrorist organizations. Yeah, I guess that is true, but you got to prove that the person you're killing is part of a cartel. That's what the problem is. Like I told my last caller, even if the first thing is true, you can't prove the second. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that got to be proved before you can skip up to murdering these people. And even if you want to deem Trinidad Agua or MS-13 as a terrorist organization, you then got to prove that the people you killed were part of them. He's not even releasing whether the people he killed are girls or boys. I mean, you don't know anything about them. So that ain't even enough. Even deeming him as a terrorist outfit is not even enough because he's releasing so little information. Continuing on real quick though, bro, how many of your friends and family members have you buried in the last 10 to 15 years because of overdose of drugs. You're a horrible person to say this is a lie, need help, man. Well, let me just say this. I lost my father to drugs. So I know it personally. So when you say how many of your friends and relatives too, I've lost some relatives. And I know plenty of people. The crack epidemic, if you live in the hood, you know people that were greatly affected by it. Or in my case, even lost their lives to it. But I will say this, just because my relatives or friends or family members chose to get involved with illegal drugs, don't mean I think you should go around killing people. I mean, at the end of the day, I was a young man when the crack epidemic took hold, late 80s, early 90s. I was on the cusp of being a full-grown adult. I didn't deal with it. I didn't take it. So it ain't like the people were pinned down, and just like with fentanyl, nobody's being forced to ingest fentanyl. The trafficking community is something different, the child trafficking community. But the average person that is getting involved in recreational drugs, they're doing it by choice, not by force. So I still don't buy that because I know people personally that were affected by the drug trade, that you should just go around murdering drug dealers. Simply put, I know how the justice system reacted to the drug trade itself. It was anti-black, anti-minority, anti-poor people. If you were black, Hispanic, or poor, the system treated you worse than somebody who was white or wealthy. Even if you had the same amount of schmack or whatever, you committed the same drug crime. So if the system itself is not fair, I don't want that system to be murdering people, because they're going to murder people in an unfair way. The death row is a perfect example. The disparity of people on death row, you can clearly see that shit is not. What are you going to tell me, that one group of people is barely murdering anybody at all? I'll as opposed to using a black and white argument, I'll use women versus men. There's a lot of bitches that commit murder. There's a lot of women that murder people. Most of the people on death row are men. If you are a woman and you commit murder, chances of you going on death row are significantly less than a man that does it. It's not a fair system. So how can I condone a system that I know is killing people in a biased manner? And then, of course, ethnicity, race makes a difference too. It's a difference between the class, wealthy versus poor. It's a difference between race, black versus white, and it's a difference between gender, women versus men. I can't defend that system, which is one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of capital punishment at all, because it's not being done fairly. And it's the same thing if I start thinking about the folks that I know that were lost to the drug trade and wanting people to be executed. They're going to execute drug dealers in the same way. They're going to, if you're black, if you're Hispanic, the chances of you being executed are greater. Whereas if you're white and you're on a boat, maybe they shoot the boat and capture you. If you're black, they blow your ass up at sea. I just don't favor it because it's never done fairly. That's just my opinion. Anyway, looking in the comments though, somebody says I like crack though. All right, one of my crack smokers in the comments. Obama didn't prove that son of terrorist was actually a terrorist. Hold him into the same standard. Good. No, that's not true. Because first of all, Obama, you know who the person was that Obama took out. You know who the individual was. You don't even know who the individuals are that Trump took out. Big difference. Big difference. You don't even, like I said, you don't know the gender of who Trump took out. You don't know the country of origin, who the person is. If the individual that Obama took out, the individual that Obama droned that was fighting on behalf of ISIS in the Middle East, if that was a true, Richie Cunningham American that was just happened to be in the region visiting or something like that, the right would have told you that. If Obama droned an American citizen that had nothing to do with ISIS and he killed a person that was not a bad guy, the right would have ran with that. The fact that they're not doing that shows you that this person was what they said he was. You would have heard about that by now. So I disagree with you from that point. Who keeps saying it is a fair system and don't see color? The people that benefit from it. The people that are not being treated that way. People going to say that. Real quick, let me continue on. Yeah, you're not going to hear that from everybody. Anyhow, wasn't until the judge's daughter was smoking it until it became a problem. Yeah, like I said, I don't favor capital punishment because capital punishment is given out. Even when it came to Robert Downey Jr. got caught with a significant amount of drugs on him. I think Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, they all got caught with. None of them barely did a day. Whereas some of them got caught. I think Robert Downey Jr. got caught with a felonious amount on them. They would have went to prison if they had been a minority or somebody who had less wealth, less income. I just, a lot of parts of it, the justice system treats different people differently. So when you start talking about killing people based on the fact that I believe that's happening, I can't condone an unfair system being given the power to kill people. That's my opinion. Anyhow, I appreciate the 54th thou. Thank you folks for tapping the screen. A little bit lazy in the thumb department today. Nevertheless, I did want to do an abbreviated live. I do got to step away. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. And if you guys are following on Instagram, feel free to give your boy a follow. Same thing with YouTube. Give your boy a sub. I'll catch you guys on the stream tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. I got to go. I hate to step away so early, but I